they call out to the fight. A skyline hums alive, never still. Chasing dreams, we run against the thrill. Young hearts in a glow, in a pulse of the street. We rise, we fall, where the shadows meet. Underneath the lights, we're the ones they'll talk about. Young, wild and free, let it all scream out.
Yo, what up, jerks? How you doing today? What is up? It's happy Sunday. I didn't know I was going to be doing a show. I thought I was going to have a finally a true day off of everything. No uploading videos. Maybe just a little Twitter shit posting, but that's it. Like no shows, no dog walks, no radio, no family, no nothing, just chilling today. I was just like, this is my day just to relax. But I've been waiting for this video to come out from Medway Cable for over a week. I said, as soon as this video comes out, I'm going to do a show as soon as possible. And then there it was, of course, Sunday evening. I'm back at work. This is not work, though. This is fun. This is what we like to do. I'm happy. This is like, gives me something to cap off my weekend. I can never take a day off. I'm back right at it because we have great video. This is what I'm dying to show everybody. I had the graphic ready to go. I created it ahead of time. It was just ready. I was ready. I'm like, this is actually perfect. I'm so relaxed today. I just really did nothing except a little food shopping and a little dispensary shopping. I'm all stocked up, people. So what's up, people? How you doing? There's been a lot of drama, too. I'm just watching the drama, not saying too much. Maybe a little bit. I went on JFK's show the other night. People saw that. The part I was on was streamed on our channel. Some people liked it. I also streamed Jen Altman's Spaces. A lot of people liked that. Some didn't. I totally understand. Some people, even with us, who were kind of like Free Karen Reed, Anti-Turtle Boy, didn't like it either because she was promoting their big event, which I didn't talk about at all on the show for obvious reasons. I don't want to fuel any more of that shit for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I just don't want to deal with the drama. I just don't want to deal with it. There's just like too much drama, and beyond the drama, it's like toxic. It's like this whole people doxing each other and allegedly bomb threats, maybe more wiretapping. I mean, just stuff that's going on. It's just like, stop. Really, people, you like court? Do you like court? I don't like court. I don't want to go to court. So we're just going to go back to what we do, covering the politics, covering this race, this campaign. And I will say something for the turtle riders out there that some of them still watch or maybe even Aiden too. There's been a lot of discussion about will any of these candidates drop the charges against Aiden? I don't think any of them can or will. I think that's pretty clear at this point. Aiden said one of them did say that they might, but I don't think that person really has a chance, even though they raised a lot of money. Most people don't even know their name. But a lot of people think Daesh will be the one that will do that. I'm not so sure. I think the better question, and so a question that I hope to ask some candidates, maybe, if we have some more of them on the show, I think the question that might help Aiden is if it's a hung jury. Let's say Aiden goes to trial. And this is one of the likely scenarios, actually. I think there's a good possibility Aiden could get a hung jury. Just like Karen got a hung jury the first trial. And if Aiden gets a hung jury the first trial, are they going to re-prosecute it? That's a good question that the DA should have to answer, I think. And I don't think they have to answer yes or no, but they have to kind of answer what they would consider. Like, what would be the parameters of that? What would be the considerations that they would be looking for to decide something like that, whether they would retry him if it was a hung jury. I think from Juna Perkins being on the show, I don't think she likes retrying things. Like she talked about that with the Karen Reed retrial. She wouldn't have retried Karen Reed. So I think Juna Perkins, I'd be interested to see what she had to say, or Adam Deich, but he hasn't come on the show. He's not going on a lot of shows apparently. But so that's that's something that I think people should ask. Actually, it's a good question that I think hasn't been asked. I thought of. Here's this guy. You love drama, Mike. Stop it. Do I? Do I really? Is that what we do on the show most of the time? Not really. No, not really. I mean, I think you love the drama. The Fro Matt. What? I don't even know how to say your name. Whatever you. I think you do, because you're like hanging on it. Like there's a lot of folks like you that say you don't like the drama, but we'll cover this DA candidates night tonight seriously throughout the whole thing, and I bet you drop off. Like that's it. We like most of our coverage is the serious content, and most of you don't stick around. You actually want the drama. But let's get to why we're here. Norfolk County District Attorney candidates debate. This was from June 17th. I believe that was Monday night. Let's look at the calendar. When was that? No, it was Wednesday night. So this was Wednesday night in Medway, recorded by Medway. What are we calling this? Medway Cable. Medway Cable. It's medwaycable.com is the website. It's their cable access. I'm going to post it in the chat, and we'll post a comment after the show's over so people can find that if they want to watch it without any commentary. Mostly I like to play for a little while and then maybe stop and do some commentary. I don't like to sit here and do the commentary the entire time because I talk too much and I ruin it. And I haven't watched this. I just really want to watch it too. And there'll be plenty of time to commentate at the end and during some breaks throughout this. So we're just going to get right into this right now. And I want to thank all the jerks for watching. I want to also thank Law Talkers who hit us up with a Young Jerks membership tonight already. Thank you so much, Law Talkers. You're the first donor tonight. Really appreciate that. So let's get into this. Let's watch this. Here they come. Here are looking at.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Calpa, and I'll be serving as your moderator for tonight's debate. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the
Sorry about this. Well, I just, since he did come up, or she, what do we call him? VV Fro Meb? I don't know. So they came back and said, "I love it. It's fun." So they at least admit that they do like the drama. That's a step in the right direction. And that's the thing. Some of you are having fun with it because you don't know these people, but for some of us, we know everybody, so it's not even fun. Even when you don't like somebody, you still know them. You know what I mean? Like I don't really love to see all this shit going on with Aiden, honestly. You know. So it gets weird. I just when you're on the inside. That's what bugs me more than anything else. More like I don't even give a shit that they call me names or call me cry, whatever. I don't care. But what bothers me is people I like and know, especially, some of the, the 5150 shit. That's the shit that really bugs me. Like stuff like that. The stuff that they did to James, like people need to just rein it in a little bit. Rein it in. Calm the hell down. You can have your laughs. I don't blame people for laughing. I laugh too. And it's easy for me sometimes to be a dink too online when I don't really know the person. If it's just like a name I don't know or person I don't know, I can be that laughy dink guy too, right? But then when you get to know them, it becomes a little different, So that's the thing that I okay. So I'm off of this. This is why I gotta go away. I'm gonna because I want to watch this video. But we addressed it. That's cool. I'm glad you at least admitted it. Very cool. Stick to Bravo for drama. Yeah, because they get paid the big money for it. I mean, they know what they're signing up for. That's the problem with this. A lot of these folks that get caught up in all this drama, they didn't sign up for it. Like, that's my problem. That's what I don't like, when people didn't sign up for it. Like Meredith, people can say she claims she signed up. She did not sign up for this. All right, let's play the video. Not enough about me and talking about this stuff.
Democratic Town Committees of Bellingham, Dover, Foxborough, Franklin, Medfield, Medway, Millis, Needham, Norfolk, Plainville, Walpole, and Rentham for co-sponsoring tonight's event. I'd also like to thank the planning committee, volunteers, and everyone working behind the scenes to make tonight possible. Most importantly, thank you all for being here. The September 1st primary will determine the Democratic nominee for one of the most consequential law enforcement positions in Eastern Massachusetts. The DA's office prosecutes cases in 28 cities and towns and serves more than 740,000 residents. Tonight is not about revisiting the past. It's about the future. It's about helping voters to understand who these candidates are, how they will lead, and what priorities they will bring to this office. We'll cover a lot of important issues this evening, and the format gives each candidate equal time to be heard. Opening and closing statements are 2 minutes, responses to questions are 60 seconds, rebuttals, when called for, are 30 seconds followed by an optional 30-second response. The candidates will see signs held up by our timekeeper, Melissa Mayo, out here in front, for 15-second and time-up warnings. When the time expires, I will ask them to conclude. Candidates may not address one another directly by name during responses, and questions are to be directed by me to the panel. Audience members, we ask that you please hold your reactions until the end of the program. This is your opportunity to hear clearly from every candidate, and I will do my best to keep things moving fairly and on schedule. Tonight's debate is also being video recorded and will be available on the Medway Cable TV website within a couple of days. The link to the recording will also be emailed to all who RSVP to the event and will be shared via email and social media by the Democratic Town Committees co-sponsoring this debate. So with that, we have 7 candidates, plenty of questions, and a very limited amount of time, so let's get started. With our first opening statement, we have Craig McClellan from Cohasset.
Hello, everyone. My name is Craig McClellan. I live in Cohasset with my inspiring and supportive wife and my 10-year-old son, my 13-year-old daughter, and our crazy but lovable German Shepherd. They're over in that corner, not the German Shepherd, you're all safe. But I've lived in Massachusetts my whole life. I've been practicing criminal law in Massachusetts state courts for over 20 years. During that time, I've served as a criminal prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney, so I've watched our criminal justice system evolve from both sides of the courtroom, for better and worse, over the past 20 years. I'm also privileged enough to hold a position of public trust in my hometown of Cohasset. I've been on the school committee there for 7 years, and that role has exposed me to some really important concepts of local government that I think can and should be applied at the county level to yield better service to the public. It's also required me to manage a budget of public funds. That's not an overlooked facet of the DA's position. The DA needs to be a responsible steward of our tax dollars, and I don't think that's been happening lately. I think that the failures in the DA's office all arise from a long-term lack of accountability. You know, despite the controversies and the reporting on the office, most people don't know who the DA is or what the office can do or is doing for them, and if you have that, you're never going to have an accountable elected official. As DA, I will be accountable. You will know who I am, you'll know how to contact me, and I won't hide or run from dissent or concern. I'll embrace it. I'll show up and confront failures or concerns in person and reassure folks by offering effective and meaningful solutions and responses. You know, don't vote for me because I can list a bunch of people you don't know that have endorsed me, or because I think I've done some really impressive things in my career. Vote for me because I'm going to approach this job as it should be approached, as though it's a responsibility to each and every one of you. I am absolutely convinced that we can raise this office from the depths of controversy and build something extraordinary together. But in order to do so, we need to deliver this public office back to the public that it serves. That's what I intend to do as DA, and I hope I can earn your support.
Next up, we have Mr. Adam Deitch of Quincy.
How many tragedies do we have to see in Norfolk County before we do something about it?
My answer to that question is, we've had enough. I'm Adam Deitch, and I am up on this stage because I believe a district attorney's office should be focused on two things: public safety and public trust. Unfortunately, over the past few years, Michael Morrissey and his team have lost the public's trust. They've created what I've been calling a two-tiered system of justice in Norfolk County, where if you know the right people or if you're connected to certain members of law enforcement, you've been able to get special treatment. That needs to stop right now. As a federal prosecutor, I specialized in public corruption cases, standing up to institutions when it wasn't the easy thing to do. I prosecuted state troopers for accepting bribes in Stoughton. I prosecuted RMV employees for accepting bribes in exchange for driver's licenses. I prosecuted state troopers for overtime fraud. But even before I became a prosecutor, I did work for the Innocence Project. And it was there where I saw firsthand what can go wrong when police and prosecutors take shortcuts and rush to judgment and draw conclusions before collecting all the evidence in a particular case. Tonight, though, I want to focus on my positive vision for the future of the DA's office. An office where survivors and victims and their family members are at the center of everything that we do. An office where people can get answers to questions about what the DA's office is doing and why. An office where investigators and prosecutors follow the facts and the evidence no matter where they lead or who they implicate. An office where, most of all, everyone is treated the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Next up, we have Ms. Juna Perkins from Dedham.
Thank you so much. My name is Juna Perkins. When I was 2 weeks old, my mother, suffering from severe postpartum depression, died by suicide. 4 months later, my father was stabbed in a riot in New York City in the summer of 1968. As you might imagine, my childhood was pretty chaotic after that. There were drugs in our house. Family members went to state prison and served time in juvenile detention. There was poverty, neglect, and free lunch, food stamps. And sometimes the people who were supposed to protect me and speak for me were the ones who were causing the most harm. That's why I decided to become a lawyer and then a prosecutor, so that I could be the voice for others that I had not had for myself as a child. And I've done that, nothing but that, for 33 years. Fighting for justice for victims of crime all over Massachusetts. First as a prosecutor for 10 years in the Attorney General's office and then in the Suffolk County District Attorney's office, where I served as the chief of the Domestic Violence Unit in Superior Court, the supervisor of Dorchester District Court, which is the second largest trial court in the Commonwealth, and on the homicide response team. And then in 20 years of private practice representing victims of crime against institutions like the Catholic Church in civil litigation for childhood sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and discrimination in the workplace. And then for the last 13 years, conducting investigations of sexual misconduct and discrimination at schools and workplaces. And that's why, 2 years ago, when I saw the district attorney's constant and persistent failures of ethics and professionalism, I knew I couldn't sit by and do nothing. Because I remember all of the people that I've worked with in 33 years, and I remember myself as a child, and I knew I had to stand up. Because I believe that we all deserve justice, no matter who we are, where we're from, or how much money we have. I'm Juna Perkins, and I'm excited to tell you about my vision for justice in Norfolk County. Thank you.
Thank you, Juna. Our next candidate is...
It was good. That was really strong. She's gotten better at this. It's funny because I had her on a couple times before she kind of told her past, her history. Yeah, this moderator is phenomenal. So far, the one thing I don't like is the video. It looks like they're having some video zoom issues. Early in this video, you could see that they went dark for a minute. So now it looks like we only have the wide shot, but on YouTube you can zoom in. You can enlarge the screen on YouTube. I don't know if you can do that on the TV, but you can definitely do that on the phone at least. I'm sure on the computer. But yeah, I thought she gave a great opening speech. Deitch was good. Deitch is always good. I thought it was interesting so far. Craig McClellan has stood up. He stood in the back where the light was. Judah Perkins stood up to the side, but she wasn't in the light. That's the one I would say mistake on her part. You didn't get a good look at her because she stood kind of in the area where the light wasn't. Where Craig McClellan was more standing in the light. Adam Deitch just remained seated. He never stood up, so he's fully lighted. But the sound on this is phenomenal. The moderator's voice is great. This looks great so far, except the video. Like, the video's a little far away, but whatever, as long as we have good audio.
Macy Lee from Milton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Macy Lee, and I've lived in Milton for the last 23 years. I'm not from Milton originally. In fact, I was born in New York. My dad decided to name me Macy because it sounded very American, and I was right across the street from the department store. And yes, and it's stuck. Although I was the first person in my family born in the United States, my family was here for generations before me. But because of anti-discrimination, immigrations, I was the first one born here, and my children are considered to be sixth-generation Americans. I grew up in Boston in public housing. I went to Boston public schools. I was bused during the busing crisis, during desegregation, and I benefited a lot from a lot of the public services that still exist today. I was a little sister with the Big Brother, Big Sister program. I got my first job through ABCD, and because of that, I went to law school, and I've been a lawyer for 34 years. And 32 of those years, I've dedicated my legal career to serving the public, to folks like all of you. I have a lot of leadership and managerial experience. I was the chief of the narcotics unit at Suffolk County for 10 years. In that capacity, I raised the bar to professionalism for all the officers with whom I work to the highest standards, where all our cases were airtight. And the cases were not prosecuting drug users or those who were distributing to feed a habit. We did 9 wiretap investigations that ended up seizing kilograms, close to 100 kilograms of fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and opioids. So I've had leadership experience in managing hundreds of law enforcement officers. I'm currently the Director of Mass Health for the Office of Medicaid. I was promoted to this position by the Medicaid Director 4 years ago after my agency was sued for the lack of accountability, transparency, and integrity. I settled the case, it was a class action, and then the Medicaid Director said, go fix it.
Please finish the thought.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't see this. I wasn't even paying attention, I was looking at the odds. So in short, I have a lot of leadership and management experience, and I look forward to telling you more when the questions are up. Thank you.
Thank you, Macy. Our next candidate is Barakat of Braintree.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming out. Jim Barakat, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I woke up today and did the same job I've been doing for the last 13 years, and that's defending the people of Massachusetts. I am a criminal defense attorney. Almost every day I'm in court fighting police corruption and fighting against government overreach. And if you're looking to shake up the status quo in Norfolk County, I think I might be your guy. I don't really believe that to replace one corrupt prosecutor with another prosecutor might be the way to do it. I think we need to really focus on the incarceration problem in Massachusetts. Massachusetts incarcerates more people than all of Europe combined, and that's for 2 reasons. One, because the United States has a perversion with carceral consequences for our low-level non-violent offenders, and 2, it's because Europe realizes what the United States hasn't, that you don't just incarcerate your way out of every single social problem that we have in this world. The way you lower crime, and in fact by lowering the incarceration rate, is to invest in affordable housing, by investing in more education for our residents, by having available drug treatment, mental health treatment, and by having less folks incarcerated, you have less folks committing crimes when they are released from prison, and that in turn lowers the crime rate. Ostensibly, the district attorney's office would like to do whatever they can to lower the crime rate. It's been my experience that this is not what they support, and I think a public defense brain can change that. Thank you.
Could be tough to reach from all over here. There we go. Our next candidate is Mr. Greg Connor from Milton.
Thank you for having me. So for the last 25 years, I've been an assistant district attorney in Norfolk County. But my career actually started in 1996 when I was an intern for Bill Delahunt, the then district attorney, and I saw the gold standard for how crime could be prosecuted. I finished Boston College, I went to BC Law, and then I was hired by Bill Keating in 2001. I worked my way up through the office. I was line ADA, I was the chief of the district courts, I was the head of motor vehicle homicide team, and then I was the head of the financial crimes unit, where we also prosecuted elder abuse and probable corruption. In 2017, I was given the role of being the chief trial counsel, where I would take on and win some of the most complicated cases in the county. During that same time frame, I helped develop our treatment courts, where we would develop a drug court and a veterans court, giving people that were looking at incarceration a chance and a path to recovery. And so I think that that's one of the reasons that in 2024, I was named Massachusetts Prosecutor of the Year. I've been endorsed by the Norfolk County Police Chiefs Association, over a dozen labor unions, and MassCop, the largest police union in the state. And I can say that in addition to being a district attorney, I've worked with nonprofits for the last 18 years, and for the last 6, I've been the treasurer of a multi-million-dollar account for a homeless shelter in Boston. And I can tell you that Norfolk County means the world to me. I grew up here, I've raised my family here, and one of the things that I am proud of is the work that I've done in this county. But I'm also equally disgusted with what I've seen by the state police, and one trooper in particular, and the people that he was talking with. I want to create an office that you can be proud of, where bigots know that they're not welcome, and I want to create an office where defendants know if they're hurting others, they'll be held accountable, but if they're hurting themselves, we'll give them help.
Our final candidate for our introductions is Bob Jubenville from Milton.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We have too many people from Milton here. My name is Bob Jubenville, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a veteran of the United States. It's not on. Thank you. Can you hear me? So let me tell you a little about myself. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. When I got out of the Army, I went on to Massachusetts State Police. I went to law school nights. I graduated from Suffolk University Law School, passed the bar, and started a criminal practice in the state of Massachusetts for over 40 years. I was one of the 3 board-certified criminal trial attorneys in the history of Massachusetts, which I'm very proud of. And while I was a lawyer, I became a governor's counselor. I was elected, and I served 10 years on the governor's council. It's a body that approves or disapproves of candidates for judgeships. Present time, I'm a clerk magistrate in our court system. The clerk magistrate's duties: I rule on certain criminal matters and motor vehicle matters. I also supervise about 20 people in the office. I hire people, I train people, and the biggest thing I do is to make sure that they don't do something that brings dishonor and discredit to our court system. Now, the elected DAs in this Commonwealth have the same job I have. They're not trial attorneys, they don't go to court and prosecute people. The last time the district attorney prosecuted a case was about 4 decades ago. And what they do is they supervise, they manage people, they train people. And the most important job I think they have is to keep assistant district attorneys on a tight leash. Because when they don't do that, we see the results of it in the last few years on the high-profile cases that exposed incompetence in the office, malfeasance, wasting taxpayers' monies, all for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our candidates, and thank you to the audience. I will just reiterate, though, that we're going to hold off on any applause or clapping so we can continue to move through this and answer as many questions as possible until the end. So we do have 3 rounds of questions. Each has a couple of questions in each. Our first round is going to center around office reform and trust. Our first question, starting with Mr. Jubenville, is going to be that the next district attorney will inherit an office whose public trust has been significantly damaged. In 60 seconds, please describe the single most important structural change you will make in your first 100 days and why that change comes before all others.
Well, that's a good question.
Quick note for the group, I'm sorry, but there is no rebuttals for this question. We really want this to be a scene setter, so let's just answer the question for this one.
Well, the first thing I would do, if I get sworn in as district attorney, is call the state auditor and have her audit the district attorney's office. And in relationship to that, I would form a committee, mostly of retired judges that I trust, to go over all the cases in the district attorney's office that a couple of police officers were involved in, and to make sure that everything was done right, so nobody's sitting in a jail cell that shouldn't be there. I think you have to be transparent, you have to be open, you have to admit mistakes that were made in that office, and you gotta correct them, and you gotta train people, and you gotta supervise people, and you gotta have good people working for you. In my opinion, part of the problem in that office was assistant district attorneys convinced the district attorney that it was a good idea to do what they did with regard to those high-profile cases. It didn't work out, did it?
Thank you, sir. Our next respondent will be Greg.
Thank you. So I think the first thing that has to be done is that there has to be annual diversity training in the office to make this a culture that celebrates everyone and discourages bigots from being in the office. I think the second thing that has to be done is the office has to go out to faith-based groups and community groups, and has to interact with them so that they can see each other. The office has to have a better understanding, including its investigators, of the people who are utilizing our courthouses. It's only through that type of interaction that I think that we'll build a better culture and that we'll be able to get the public's trust back.
Thank you, Greg. Our next respondent will be Jim.
So the next DA is going to have a tough job. They're not just going to have to continue delivering justice for Norfolk County residents, but they're also going to have to clean up the mess that has been going on in the Norfolk County DA's office, including rebuilding trust. It's a dual job that really you should only have to be doing one. But what I would implement is a much more comprehensive officer do not call list. Now, very often in some cases, like cases maybe that Michael Proctor was involved with, very well might be overturned because of his very obscene, sexist, and racist text messages. These are officers that should not be called to testify. I think it's almost like toxic waste. And for them to ever be used in a court case just undermines the trust that the general public has in the Norfolk DA's, any DA's office.
Thank you, Jim. Our next respondent will be Macy.
So in my 32 years in government, I have changed 2 offices. First,
I'm going to stop it right there. I just can't believe Greg Connor's answer. So far, Barakat gave a great answer. So did Jubenville. Jubenville gave a really good answer on what he would do. Go through all those cases. He would take retired judges he trusted. He told you specifically what he would do. That made sense to look into a lot of this crap, right? I think it could have been a little more complete, but it was pretty good. I give him a B. Connor, I give an F. This dude said his answer to the problems of all the corruption and the lack of public trust His first answer was to do diversity training. You think diversity training is going to do anything for somebody like Michael Proctor? Do you think Michael Proctor didn't get some type of diversity training within the I'm sure he did. What a joke. That was his first priority. His second one is to go do PR, to go talk to faith leaders. Like, that is the biggest do nothing. I can't believe I heard that answer. Like, are you shitting me, dude? You basically do nothing. I'm gonna throw a diversity training at them, and I'm gonna go talk to some church leaders. We're gonna try to pretend that we found Jesus. What the fuck, dude? That's your fucking opening statement on this shit. Dude, what the why are you running? I can't believe a guy with that much experience, that was his answer. Like, dude, I was trying to be fair with you too, because I do value experience. You know, somebody who knows how shit works. Despite you come from that culture and you seem to be supported by that culture, you seem to embrace that culture. I was still giving you a little sliver, but dude, are you lazy? Like, that was your answer? Are you shitting me, dude? Diversity training. Yeah, it's so insulting. It's so pandering. Diversity training once a year is not going to fucking fix your problems, dude. Like, holy shit. Yeah, that's exactly it. Which guy's the church guy? There's a church guy? I don't even know. What do you mean church guy? You're going to have to explain that one to me. Is there a church guy? What's that about? I don't know anything about the church guy. Yeah, right there. We're gonna do diversity training. That's my number one move. We're gonna do diversity training. That's how we're gonna fix everything, all our problems. We're not gonna investigate anything. We're not gonna do a report. We're not gonna look at Proctor's case. We're not gonna get in front of this. We're just gonna do a diversity. We're gonna put a band-aid on an open gash. You got a 6-inch fucking open wound. He puts on a little butterfly Band-Aid on
The
it.
narcotics unit at Suffolk County and its goals, and rehiring and restructuring and supervisory oversight. And I did it again with the Office of Medicaid Board of Hearings, where I have over 60 employees, and I restructured it, reorganized it, made 4 deputy directors that serve underneath me, and many different teams. So going into the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office would be my 3rd stint that I know that I can successfully do.
Yeah, right. This is a good point. I mean, is he telling us they don't have diversity? I can't believe that a government agency doesn't have like even a 2-hour diversity training program or something. Like, the comment here is, I guarantee they already have diversity training. I'm sure they do. And if they don't, you should have stated that. That would have been kind of shocking, actually, if they don't have any diversity. But it's so stupid. Like, that's your answer to this.
The first thing that I would do is to create a conviction integrity unit. That unit is going to review every single conviction that involved Proctor and Good to determine whether any of those cases were tainted by biased evidence. I did this with the Andy Dukin scandal back in 2012 when I was the chief of the narcotics unit, where hundreds of cases were dismissed by my unit because of tainted evidence. And that is one of my first priorities, in addition to understanding all the policies and the changes that need to be.
Thank you, Macy. Juna, you're up next.
Thank you. So I'm going to agree with Bob that I think the first and most important thing that needs to be done is a top-to-bottom audit of the office. I think that includes reviewing all policies, reviewing all protocols, interviewing personnel. And by the way, I know that there are many highly qualified and dedicated staff in that office. I don't want anybody to be worried about their jobs. And I promise you, if you are willing to adhere to the highest professional standards and service, then you are welcome to stay. And I will never ask you for money for my campaign, and I will never ask you or expect you to support me by engaging in political activity. So I would also look back at all of the, at some of the cases, the controversial cases we've seen in the past few years, and figure out what exactly happened and why. And to the extent possible, I will publish the results of that investigation and prepare a strategic plan that would also be published. Thank you.
Adam, you're up next.
Thank you. In this race, I was the first candidate to introduce a comprehensive policy agenda. It's called my accountability agenda, or Adam's accountability agenda, and it includes a bunch of things that I would want to get started on almost immediately, certainly within the first 100 days of my tenure as district attorney. It includes what would be a first of its kind anti-corruption task force, where a prosecutor and investigators are dedicated to rooting out corruption in Norfolk County. It would include establishing a dedicated cold case unit. It would include revamping the conviction integrity unit that exists and enabling the conviction integrity unit to implement preventative measures so wrongful convictions do not happen in Norfolk County. But my number one priority would be to look at every single case in Norfolk County where survivors, victims, and their family members do not have answers, and ensure that they are given honest answers about what happened, and if investigative steps need to be taken, we will take those steps.
And finally, Craig, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'll just preface all my answers to the questions tonight with the fact that any specific visions I have, I think, can and will be improved upon through collaboration with various stakeholders, community members, recovery organizations, first responders. So I'm going to be very collaborative as a DA. But to answer the question in terms of what I think the most acute problem is the fact that there's been a failure to acknowledge the failures. That's the first thing I would do, is acknowledge the failures of this office. To this day, as we sit here, no one from the DA's office has come up and said, hey, we've really screwed up here, and here's what we're planning to do about it. What do you propose that we do about it? How do you think, what does that sound? How does our proposal sound to you? Sometimes residents just want to hear that from their elected officials. We're all infallible, right? But there have been some major failures here, including conflicts of interest in investigators, failure to properly equip first responders at crime scenes, an absolute misallocation of public funds, and the absence of a well-defined process for making charging decisions. So that's the first thing that I would do as district attorney, is acknowledge failure.
Thank you very much, candidates. Our next question, starting with Craig, is going to be that several of you have called for an audit of the DA's office. What specifically would that audit examine? Who would conduct it? And how would its findings be made public? Craig.
So I think that, we have a state auditor for a reason, and our state auditor is a friend of mine. Her name is Diana DiZoglio. I think she's done a wonderful job, because I think she's taken an otherwise fairly obscure public office, and she's used it in a way that's really meaningful to residents. And so I would certainly utilize her office. I think she has demonstrated how you can build a lot of public trust. And I think the DA's office is very similar to that. I think it is generally a fairly obscure office, unless you're in law enforcement or something related to that, or embroiled in some criminal justice issue or your family member is. Most people just don't know too much about the DA's office. So I think I'd turn to the auditor's office, but it would be a collaborative effort. I'd include members of law enforcement, victims' rights groups, civil rights groups, religious organizations. It would be a team effort, and we'd have public forums to discuss that as well. Again, I'm going to be taking a hugely collaborative approach to this job.
Thank you, Craig. Adam, you're up next.
I think an audit of the district attorney's office can come in different forms. I don't know that it has to be done by the state auditor, but there's no question that most of us on this stage agree that a lot of things about what this district attorney's office does needs review, needs critical thought and critical review. It has felt to me over the past few years like folks in Norfolk County had to rely on the U.S. Attorney's Office to do the real-time auditing of our district attorney's office. And I'm here today because that should never be the case. I left the U.S. Attorney's Office in November because I was looking at the drumbeat of cases here in Norfolk County, and I literally said out loud, what on earth is going on in Norfolk County? What I'd like in our future here is for the district attorney's office not to need an external audit, but for us to course correct, recruit and retain the best prosecutors, embrace what the DA's office is already doing well, and ensure that we strengthen those things, and ultimately publish all of that data on a website that doesn't look like it was created on an Apple II in 1997. Thank you, Kevin.
Judah, the floor is yours.
Well, I've already talked about this a little bit in the previous answer, but so I think that the audit should be conducted by professionals in the business. So that is former judges, prosecutors, victim witness advocates, defense attorneys, law professors. Those are the kind of people who should really do this audit. I think that, first of all, trust and transparency are the two major issues that are going to be facing this office, and rebuilding that trust is going to take some time. Cultural change is hard, and it does take time, but I know from my work with major institutions of business and education from all over the state that it can happen when crises come little by little. If the leadership at the top makes value judgments and shows how the work is supposed to be done, you can rebuild that trust. I'll just say a couple of other things about some things I'd like to do in the first 100 days.
It's going to be very quick.
Okay. Publishing prosecution statistics, publishing reports of officer-involved shootings, a clear conflict of interest policy, and mandatory reporting of police misconduct. Thank you.
That was close to not being very quick. Macy, the floor is yours.
I would have 2 audits conducted should I become Norfolk County District Attorney. The first would be a financial audit, and I would like the state auditor to do it because I think she's done a terrific job, and I think that it would be helpful to know how money was spent, why close to $1 million was spent for outside counsel on a particular retrial of a case. So I'd like to know where that money went, how it was spent, and how we can re-divert that money into training for the staff and for hiring talented and skilled ADAs for that office where we don't have to hire outside counsel. The second audit I'd like to do is internally, and it's to figure out the statistics in the office of how cases are charged, the cases are diverted, and racial disparity. There are certain groups that are hindered by prosecution by this particular office, and that is probably best done by an outside auditor.
Kind of took the wind out of my sails on my next question, Macy, but we're moving right along. Jim, go right ahead.
Thank you. There's a saying, follow the money, and 72% of us voted for the state audit, and it's been being blocked for the House of Representatives. Now, if the voters got what they asked for, we would have found out before the Karen Reed retrial that the Norfolk County DA's office ran out of money, and they had to get an additional $1.5 million from the taxpayers in Massachusetts, which was a complete waste. And secondly, they hire a second for a second trial, someone who to the tune of $500,000 just to try one case, which is equal to the salary of 11 new starting assistant district attorneys. So not only are the taxpayers' money being wasted, this is 11 new attorneys that could have been prosecuting cases in Norfolk County and were not.
Thank you, Jim. Greg, the floor is yours.
So, as far as a financial audit, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office is already audited by the state auditor on a regular basis. So, no question, whenever the state auditor's office wants to come to the office, the books are open. Please come in. As far as a top-down evaluation of the office, that's a transition team that everyone does in every election. There's going to be change in Norfolk County, and a transition team's coming, and it's usually made of retired judges, police officers, and outside attorneys. They evaluate everyone in the office and everyone who wants to be a part of the office to make sure that they're part of the vision to go forward. They also evaluate internal protocols to make sure that those are part of the initial, that's going to help the vision go forward. But I would say that as far as being subject to the U.S. Attorney's Office, It has been a frustrating existence to try and get information from them on the Proctor case, and we were stonewalled for over a year.
And finally, Bob, was that a rebuttal?
Ultimately, if possible, yes.
Yes, you can go right ahead. You have 30 seconds, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. I guess 2 points. First of all, I'm not going to trust an audit of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to anyone who's been part of Michael Morrissey's leadership team for the last 16 years. And second,
Please hold applause. Please hold applause. Thank you.
And second, sometimes in Norfolk County over the last few years, we've needed adults in the room. And so I'm thankful that colleagues of mine at the U.S. Attorney's Office have stepped in and done what the DA's office has been completely unable to do.
Great. You have 30 seconds to respond if you'd like.
So, in 2002, the U.S. Attorney's Office got Michael Proctor's iCloud information and didn't turn it over to anyone until 2024 when he testified in the grand jury. When I tried to get that information in a court case, I was not allowed to get it because they would not turn it over. That would be a violation of state law in Massachusetts under a case from 2020 decided by the SJC. I would be censured by the bar if I had done what the U.S. Attorney's Office did.
Please hold applause. Please hold applause. The rules are not difficult. We'll clap at the end. Thank you. Bob, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The state auditor is a good auditor. She's done a great job. She's having her hands full trying to audit the state legislature. I wonder why. And to me, the audit isn't for me. It isn't for the DA. The audit is for you folks and everybody that lives in Norfolk County so they can see the money that was spent and wasted on this travesty of justice that went on in that building and that went on in that courthouse. And going even beyond that, I do an audit of most cases, and whatever I find, whether it's from an audit of money or from cases or emails from cases, they're all going to be released. I believe transparency. It's the only way to not run an office like that, and it's a way that people can have faith back in that office.
Thank you, Bob. Our next question is going to be that the Karen Reed case cost Norfolk County an estimated $1 million for the second prosecution alone. What criteria should a DA use when deciding whether to retry a case after a mistrial, and who, if anyone, should that decision be reviewed by? Just a quick note before we answer, I am not looking for a verdict on the Karen Reed trial. This is a policy-related question. Please make sure that your response is policy-oriented. Bob, you have the floor.
I'm gonna say I have to jump in here. I'm watching this. This is frigging amazing. You say Bob needs a nap? I love Bob. I think he's perfect. I was wondering what Bob was gonna be like. He's pretty strong. I like it. I like the angry guy. Especially a guy like this. Bob's been around. He knows what's going on. You know what I mean? So like I like Bob. I gotta say, like, out of all these candidates, obviously I like Jimmy Barakat. He's a public defender, great guy. He knows everything. He's like, I like Jimmy a lot. Unfortunately, Jimmy doesn't have a lot of money or endorsements. So I think it's going to be tough for him, but I'd be happy if he won. I'd be happy if Juna Perkins won. I'll be happy if Adam Deich wins. Who's the other one? McClellan, he seems pretty good too, actually. And Bob, I don't know much about him, but he seems pretty good too. Like any of those people. The only one I would not be happy if they won is Connor. Now, Macy Lee's one I didn't say. I'm not so sure about her. You know, like, if you got to go with a woman, if you're a woman voter and you want to vote for a woman, vote for Juna. You know, that's what I would say to that. But I think they're all pretty good. And I think, obviously, Juna and Deich, Juna and Deich are likely to be at the top. I do. I think it's probably going to be 1, 2, 3 between them and Connor. It's just a matter of who gets first, second, or third, you know, out of those three. But you never know. McClellan, Macy Lee, you never know. They might have a constituency. They might pull something out. You know, maybe McClellan runs the South Shore. He's from Cohasset. Maybe he just crushes. We don't know. Maybe Macy Lee has such a strong network in the Asian community. I don't know. You never know in this race because it's so many candidates. But Connor is the only one tonight that you see. He just looks like I love that Deitch took it right back to him, and that back and forth too. I noticed Juna Perkins like turned her head. She just turned her head, and she was watching it for a second. And then next thing you know, when Deitch was asking the question, when Deitch was doing his rebuttal, Juna had turned. She was looking at him, watching him. And then when Connor started talking again, she's taking notes. And Adam Deitch is taking notes. Adam Deitch and Juna Perkins are both note takers. You see that. This is getting good. I can't wait to see the rest of this because this is going to go on for a little while. This is getting good. I hope they allow a lot more back and forth with the rebuttals. One thing I got to do, I got to thank all the super chatters. We've had quite a few super chatters. I want to thank Law Talker. She keeps coming through. She started it. We do have a goal. She keeps reminding us to talk about the goal. I didn't talk about the goal. We do have a goal. Let's get all green in the chat if you can. Sheila, thank you so much. Thank you, my man, BB. Sherry S., thank you. Happy Father's Day indeed. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, if you celebrate that. And the sons and daughters and all that. Law talkers, we have goals. Mikey deserves it. See? Yes, we're talking about, we're almost there. We're at 4 out of 10. Let's see if we can get some more super chats. All right, let's watch more of this. I'm going to shut up for a little while, go away, and then I'll come back. We'll discuss it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, can you hear me? Yes. Must be me. Hello? Yeah. So, as far as I'm concerned, Karen Reed shouldn't have even been charged because the investigation was compromised right from the beginning and it wasn't fair. We learned that from emails. They hated her. They should have never been investigating that case, and it never should have went to a grand jury, and she should never have been indicted on that investigation. Number one.
Please hold up.
Number two, everybody with an ounce of brains knew that after the first trial, that case was dead. Well, what happened? Assistant DAs convinced Michael Morrissey, we can do it. We'll get a special prosecutor. And I know him. He's a good lawyer, but he's not a prosecutor. And in a courtroom, there's two roles, a defense attorney and a prosecutor. They're completely different. He was like a fish out of water. He's not a prosecutor. The rumors are it's $500,000 to $1 million he was paid. And, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why, but let me tell you. It was a complete waste of money.
No. Thank you, though. We appreciate the answer. To reiterate the question, what criteria should a DA use when deciding whether to retry a case after a mistrial, and who, if anyone, should that decision be reviewed by? Our next respondent is Greg.
Thank you. So I actually have been in that position. I tried Emmanuel Lopes, the murder of Mike Chesney and Vera Adams, and one juror refused to deliberate. And after 4 days, that was declared a mistrial.
For a second to go back, but I just have to say, see what I mean? Bob did a great job. That was a great answer. So much so people were applauding when they weren't supposed to. That was a strong answer by Bob. I don't think he's going to win this race. You never know. But it's good to have different voices bringing up these issues. You know, not just one person versus Greg Connor. It's how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's basically 6 people versus Greg Connor here on this stage. If you really look at this right now, and some of them are better speakers than others and really strong. Deitch is obviously very eloquent, a good speaker. Bob's doing a good job, I have to say. And I think obviously Juna Perkins is more polished now. She's got her talking points. She does a good job. I think Barakat does a pretty good job as well. But I like it. I like that Bob is really strong on this. I liked his statements there. I thought that was great, phenomenal.
We spent about $200,000 in that case. 2 murders. It was not a hard decision between the police, the office, and the victims that we needed to retry.
Get for a couple seconds so we get the whole Greg Connor response here. This it? Hold on. Here we go.
$1 million he was paid, and, you know, I don't
Please
know
finish
why.
your thoughts, sir.
I don't know why, but let me tell you.
No,
It was a complete waste of money.
No. Thank you, though. We appreciate the answer. To reiterate the question, what criteria should a DA use when deciding whether to retry a case after a mistrial, and who, if anyone, should that decision be reviewed by? Our next respondent is Greg.
Thank you. So I actually have been in that position. I tried Emmanuel Lopes, the murder of Mike Chesney and Vera Adams, and 1 juror refused to deliberate. And after 4 days, that was declared a mistrial. We spent about $200,000 in that case. 2 murders. It was not a hard decision between the police, the office, and the victims that we needed to retry that case. And we did. And we were very fortunate that the next time we tried it, it looked like it was going to be a mistrial again, but it came back with a verdict. That decision should be made by the victims, the police, and the office. It is always reviewable by the state auditor, and it is subject to every, the amount that is spent has always been subject to any public records request. But I believe that it has to be left to the people that are the stakeholders in the case.
Thank you, Greg. Our next respondent will be Jim.
So you need to evaluate when a case goes to mistrial, what went wrong in the case. And then you need to also ask yourself the question, can you overcome the thing or things that went wrong? And I think that a good starting point is, are we listening to science? Are we listening to reason? Are we listening to, you know, the public? What does the public want? These decisions need to be reviewed. I can speak from a standpoint of a defense attorney that when you retry a case, the aha moments don't really land the same way, because now everyone knows what everyone else has, and it's never going to really land the same again. But you gotta, especially when you're in the elected position, you need to listen to science, listen to reason, and listen to your constituents.
Thank you. Macy, the floor is yours.
The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office is the largest prosecutor's office in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's also the busiest. And in that particular office, all homicide cases are second chaired by typically an appellate ADA, of which I was one for 5 years before becoming the head of the narcotics unit. If that case resulted in a mistrial, it is then evaluated by 3 people: the chief trial counsel, the first assistant, and the ultimate decision lies with the district attorney. The victim, the families, law enforcement also have input, but the ultimate decision is the district attorney. And that should have been the case in the other mistrial cases in the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. And should I become district attorney, I would follow that same model where it's collaborative, but again, ultimately, that responsibility lies with the district attorney and not anyone else.
Thank you. Juna, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, I agree that top leadership and with the input of families, of the family, is who should make these decisions. In fact, the first time when I saw what the district attorney had done, which was to decide immediately to retry the case, I knew that something was seriously wrong. Because a prosecutor has an obligation not to bring any case that they don't have a good faith basis to believe that will result in a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Clearly, if you've had a mistrial, you don't have that, you have not met that standard. You need to go back to your office, regroup, reanalyze everything, and then decide whether it's worth proceeding to trial at the expense not only of a family that's been waiting for justice like the O'Keefes did, and also to the many other families in our community who have suffered similar losses and didn't get the same kind of resources. So to me, that was the worst thing in the world, was that, you know, we had serious murders in our county. We've had 16, I think, murders in the domestic violence murders in the past 6 years.
Please finish your thought up.
None of those families got the resources that the second trial of Karen Reed did.
Greg, do you have a rebuttal? Go right ahead, 30 seconds.
I've prosecuted those domestic violence murders, and I'm unaware of a murder that was charged that was never given the resources it needed to go forward.
Judy, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Sandra Birchmore.
Please hold your applause. Please hold your applause. Thank you. Adam, you have the floor.
So I just want to correct the question just a little bit. I think you said that $1 million were dedicated to the second Karen Reed trial. When we're talking about taxpayer dollars, I want to make it clear, I want to be accurate. There was $566,000 for the special prosecutor, $400,000 for the blue paint expert, the cost of all the ADAs and the staff and paralegals and the police details and the court costs. I think it's probably double that. But then the question is, what should the criteria be for proceeding with the second trial? And I have two answers. One, the criteria should in large part be the same as the first trial. Does the evidence match the charge? Have we completed an actual investigation? Have we followed the facts and the evidence? And then second, if all of those answers are yes, I think you then ask, well, during the first trial, did my office become a national embarrassment? And if so, maybe I should change course. And that's my answer to that question.
Thank you, Adam. I did say estimated $1 million, but thank you for the clarification. Craig, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, in any type of case, I had to do this all the time when I was a prosecutor. It happens more often than you think when you have a mistrial and you have to decide whether you're going to move for trial against the prosecutor. First and foremost, and this should be asked before you try the case the first time, is there a good faith basis to move forward? And sometimes the first trial will show you that perhaps there isn't. And if there's not a likelihood of success or there's not a good faith basis, it may not make sense to move forward. There's also the consideration of cost, not just financial, but emotional. And there's a difference between nonviolent and violent offenses, of course. In nonviolent offenses, primarily you're talking about financial costs, but in violent offenses, you're talking about the emotional cost. Victims have been traumatized, do they want to go through it again? Sometimes they do not. So each case is different. You have to consider these different factors. As far as who should make the determination, I think it's the ADs involved in conjunction with their supervisors of their unit. I think those responsibilities are delegated for a reason. I don't think the DA would need to be involved unless it's in a high impact or high cost case.
Thank you.
To leave that interaction between Greg Connor and Judah Perkins, that was so good. He got smacked so hard by Judah Perkins there. He got whacked so hard, rhetorically, in words, that when Adam Deitch went next and made his little quip, he didn't even ask for a rebuttal. He was like, I'm done rebutting. Judah Perkins, he basically said, I can't recall any other murder case where the DA's office didn't spare every expense to Judah Perkins. And she responds, Sandra Birchmore. That was epic. That was truly epic. That was so good. That was, yeah. Dennis Sweeney, who's supporting Adam Deitch, was commenting on my Facebook about that. I hadn't seen it yet. Even Deitch supporters like that one. They were like, holy shit, that was so good. That's what I love about this. This is so good. It's like he's getting hammered from all sides. He's got Barracat on him. He's got Jimmy Barracat right sitting next to him, smacking him around. He's got this guy Bob now, who's serious. He's got Macy Lee taking some jabs. He's got Juna who just knocked him. Just Sandra Birchmore. Boom. And then he's got Daesh. Daesh is sitting right next to him too. I mean, this is so good. It's so much fun. I just wish we had the close-up camera a little more. I'm trying to. Is there a way for me to zoom in on this? I wish I could. We need the trial channel to fix this.
Our next round of questions are going to.
I wish there was a way I could zoom in. I wish StreamYard had a way to zoom in on the video. But it's good. You can zoom in on YouTube. That's what I'm doing. And what's so good about this is the audio is very clear. The audio is perfect. New hairstyle. Yeah, I slick. It's called I'm a bum right now. It's called I thought I was going to have some vacation time, but I worked too much in the end. I'm still working. So I haven't shaved in a while. My hair is too long. I need a haircut. I need to go see my hairstylist. So I'm slicking it back. I threw some. I'm a metrosexual today. I got some product in my hair. That's the difference. Otherwise, I gotta wear a hat because it becomes too unruly. My hair gets too unruly when it gets long. Oh, that's what you think. Yeah, I should have figured that out. That was what the church comment was about. That's so true. Ad for Dread says, I like the old guy, but they're all just piling on the guy who's been there. He deserves it for sure. He's going to go to faith-based outreach. I know. And don't forget, his number one thing, that's the second thing he's going to do. He's going to do the faith-based outreach. The number one thing he's going to do is diversity training. So he's hitting on the liberal chords, but he's also saying to the conservative Democrats that still go to church, I'm with you too, bros. You Quincy bros. The machine. Vote for me. So funny. Fucking unbelievable. I can't believe that answer he gave. Like everyone else is talking about, we're gonna do commissions, we're gonna bring in judges, we're gonna look at every case, we're gonna look at every policy, we're gonna look at every employee. Like Juna has like everything covered. Daesh has a plan. Bob has a plan. They all have plans. Bob's been in the race for a minute. He's got a deep plan already. Fucking Connor's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a diversity training. We're gonna do a diversity training. We're gonna go to church. We're gonna go to church. What the fuck? Oh, I gotta stop. All right, let's play some more video. We're gonna get through this. This is too good for me to be talking too much. I want to thank everybody for the super chats. Like I said, I haven't been hyping this up too much, but you have for me, and I want to thank you. So yeah, I guess it's 4 more. Rose says to the goal. We do have a goal tonight, so I want to thank Rose for getting us closer. A nurse of interest, and a lot of talkers too, because she's throwing in the most super chats tonight, and she keeps making sure I mention the goal. Thank you so much to our chat. Thank you for all being here and watching and the nice comments and sticking to the content, not the drama, right?
Center around criminal justice policy. Our first question is that district attorneys have enormous discretion in which cases to prosecute, what changes to bring, and what plea deals to accept. In 60 seconds, please describe your prosecution philosophy, how you would decide when the system should intervene, and how aggressively, starting with Craig.
Sorry, I thought you said Greg.
Restart the timer.
Could you rephrase the question, please? Or restate the question?
District attorneys have enormous discretion in which cases to prosecute, what changes to bring, and what plea deals to accept. In 60 seconds, describe your prosecution philosophy, how you would decide when the system should intervene, and how aggressively.
So, I mean, a lot of the cases are brought reactively. I mean, the police have arrested an offender, so you're already intervening. I am someone that subscribes to sort of rehabilitation penal objectives. So I embrace diversion, probationary conditions that seek to meet offenders with resources they need so that they can succeed without state intervention and not reoffend. To me, crime effective law enforcement is crime prevention, right? So we have a stronger, safer community where you don't have people constantly reoffending. And so the more we can do to target that type of approach is what I'm on board with. That said, some cases do call for incarceration and more stringent penalties. But I guess that's how I best answer the question. I didn't completely understand it, but.
Thank you. Adam, the floor is yours.
During the opening, I mentioned two concepts that are at the core of my own prosecutorial philosophy: public safety and public trust. And I think you can't have one without the other. You can't truly feel safe if we've lost the public's trust in the DA's office. So those are kind of the center concepts for me, the grounding philosophy. But three more things. One, every case should be evaluated individually. The conduct, the effect on survivors, victims, and their families, and also who the defendant is. If this is a first-time nonviolent situation, or is this a career offender who's taking advantage of vulnerable communities? Second, following the facts and the evidence, period. Not making a charging decision until you've collected all the evidence and analyzed all the evidence. And then finally, I think the overarching goal for me, and I think for prosecutors, has to be the just outcome. What is justice in this case? Not winning the case at all costs. Thanks.
Thank you, Adam. Juna, the floor is yours.
We've all heard the saying that the measure of any society is how well it treats its most vulnerable members. So for me, the most vulnerable members of our society are the ones the crimes against whom should be prioritized. The mission of the district attorney is public safety, prosecution, and justice. And justice is justice for all, not just any one person. So sometimes that means prosecuting something to the fullest extent and putting someone away for life. Sometimes that means giving a kid a break for their first offense. The district attorney has to be somebody. The most important thing you think about when you are choosing the district attorney that you want is their judgment. That is what you, the voter, is paying for. You need a district attorney who knows the difference between real evil, a bad decision made on a bad day, and everything in between. And your punishment and charging decisions and sentencing recommendations should all agree with those things. The highest priority crimes are the ones that affect the most vulnerable people, despite the name of the crime. Thank you.
Please finish your thought. Thank you. Macy, the floor is yours.
I believe that the role of the district attorney is balanced by public safety, accountability, and restorative justice. I think in order to have public safety, people need to be accountable for their actions. And I think we've seen today that there are politicians, there are criminals, there are just people who are just not accountable for what they say, what they do, and how they act. So accountability is really important. But then on the same token, you have to consider whether that accountability is fueled by mental health, by addiction, by age, and that's something that district attorneys should really strongly consider, whether something should be diverted to treatment, to management, or something that leads to incarceration for the most serious crimes such as murder, sexual assaults, when a child is a victim, in any case, in my opinion. And that's the balance that the district attorney has, and that's the policy that she should set for our office in evaluating every case that comes to the office.
Thank you, Macy. Jim, the floor is yours.
Okay, so many of my clients have told me over the years that they learned to become criminals while in jail. And I believe that for a good majority of them because it is scientifically proven through stats and data-driven prosecution that getting that first entry on your criminal record is the biggest indicator to show if you're ever gonna, start committing crime again. So if you can divert whoever you can, whenever you can, to stop folks from getting that first initial meeting with the public, with the criminal justice system, you're gonna do a lot to reduce the crime in our neighborhoods in Norfolk County. That being said, of course you gotta use prosecutorial discretion. I would submit you use it for the common person, the person who needs it, the person who stole $20 worth of chicken tenders for Market Basket because they're very desperate and in a bad place, not for, a selectman out of the town of Dover because he's connected with a bunch of people who work at the Norfolk County DA's office or the Governor's Council.
Thank you, Jim. Greg, the floor is yours.
How's this? All right. So my prosecutorial philosophy is basically divided into two groups. People who hurt others need to be held accountable. Crimes of violence are the #1 priority. That is where we have to make sure that if they are hurting children, elders, spouses, anyone, we have to make sure that those cases are prosecuted and the victims come first. When people are hurting themselves, we have to try and give them the help they need to get back to recovery. That's why I've helped set up the drug court, I helped found the Veterans Court, and that's why an emerging adults court for 18 to 21-year-olds charged with nonviolent offenses, if they can have a successful probation period that addresses the mental health and addiction issues they may have, those cases would be dismissed and they would be deprived of that first conviction. They would have a clean record. In Massachusetts, in the 25 years I've been here, I've seen the annual cases come in from 18,000 to 10,000. I've seen 2 prisons close. I've seen the House of Corrections come down. Recovery's working.
Thank you, Bob. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to answer the question about retrials. I'll make it very brief. In my opinion, the Commonwealth has the resources, probably 50 to 100 to 1 in most cases, that a defendant has. And my feeling is, you went forward once, you didn't get the verdict, that should be it. I've had murder cases where 3 times the guy was finally tried, and 3 times, and the 3rd time they got him. They've got all the resources, they've got the ability to do it right the first time. If they don't get a verdict, that should be it. That's my feeling on that. As far as the prosecuting, anybody that touches somebody physically and hurts them should be tried. Whether it's murder, whether it's assault and battery, whether it's maiming, whether it's a simple push that ends up in somebody getting hurt, should be tried without any question at all. Non-violent crimes I put in a different category, but they can be as serious too sometimes, especially if elderly people are defrauded and, or some contractor shows up at your house and he's been defrauding people all over the neighborhood.
Your time is up, sir. Please finish the thought.
To me, they should be prosecuted.
Thank you. Our next question, starting with Bob. Starting with you, ready? The next question is, when a police officer is accused of misconduct or a crime, should the DA's office handle that investigation and prosecution the same way it would any other case? If not, what should be different? And what safeguards would you put in place to prevent a conflict of interest?
Well, I don't think it's a conflict of interest. I don't think that there should be any exception for a police officer that commits a crime. The DA should treat everybody, citizens, police officers, garbage collectors, or anybody else the same way.
Thank you, Bob. Greg, the floor is yours.
Here we go. Thank you. So I have prosecuted police officers, corrections officers, clergy, politicians, and everyone has to be held accountable to the same standard. I think that when a police officer is charged, what you need to do is you have to have an independent group coming in. I would suggest if there's a police officer charged, you should be contacting another county to bring in their detectives unit to investigate it. That would get you an independent group that are not answering to their friends and that could be working in the same departments. I think that you have to expand the notion of a conflict of interest, and that if people are investigating the case or prosecuting the case have a relationship with victims, witnesses, and suspects, they can't be involved in it and they have to be taken out. If that goes all the way to the district attorney, then you have to bring in an independent prosecutor.
Thank you, Greg. Jim, the floor is yours.
So the optics of prosecuting a police officer in the DA's office would really come down to whether or not the district attorney's office has had a very close and intimate relationship with that particular police officer. I don't think they're different than anyone else. They should be prosecuted the same as you or I, but the optics of it, if you do have a close relationship with a particular officer, definitely need to bring in a special prosecutor to handle that case. Hopefully not to the tune of $500,000, but someone who can do the job the same way you would prosecute Joe Schmo walking through the door.
Thank you, Jim. Macy, the floor is yours.
Police officers are certainly held to the same standards as all residents in any county, and if there's any wrongdoing, misconduct, they should be prosecuted as they should, like anyone else. In terms of bringing in a special prosecutor, I think again, it depends, as what Jim said, it depends on whether the office has a close relationship with that particular officer. A Boston police officer was recently indicted by a grand jury for a shooting, and it's handled by the Suffolk DA's office by a very experienced homicide prosecutor. It was not sent out to a special prosecutor. The office used its own funds, its own resources, and its own staff to do that. So unless there's a reason to go outside the office, if there is a clear conflict, I don't see a reason why a special prosecutor should be brought in, and again, using taxpayers' money to farm out resources.
Thank you, Macy. Juna, the floor is yours.
So in general, I agree that conflicts of interest should be determined on a case-by-case basis. I've certainly been in situations where police that I was familiar with were prosecuted by the same office I worked in. But here we have a different situation. This is a situation in which, everybody knows the appearance of, the perception is reality. And here we have an incredible, a devastating last few years where it looks like everything in Norfolk County is a mess. And so for that reason, I think for at least the first several years, we have to have a policy where any police officer, local or state police, who is accused of a crime in Norfolk County needs to be handled by a prosecutor from another county or a special prosecutor, private prosecutor from outside. The appearance of impropriety is something that we really need to avoid, and that's what many of my policies will address. Thank you.
Thank you, Juna. Adam, the floor is yours.
As district attorney in Norfolk County, I want to lead an office that is capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time. At the U.S. Attorney's Office, I specialized in public corruption cases and prosecuted police corruption cases, and worked alongside outstanding members of law enforcement who investigated those cases. And I've seen the look on the good cops when they uncover the conduct of the bad ones. And the good ones, despite what's been going on in this county for far too long, the good ones far outnumber the bad ones. But I mentioned an anti-corruption task force earlier because it's not easy for a DA's office to prosecute police cases because police officers, by virtue of their job, have relationships with folks at the DA's office. There's a way to do it, and there's a smart, modern way to do it by isolating an ADA and isolating investigators to do these kinds of cases. I will say that I would not trust anyone who's been part of Michael Morrissey's leadership team to handle conflicts of interest in Norfolk County.
Thank you. Craig, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First, I just want to note that, I think there's been a lot of talk, especially in this county, about police officers, and abuse of authority and misdeeds, and that's the minority, okay? And everyone should not perpetuate the myth. I'm a supporter of law enforcement. I think that it's not that they can do no wrong. We need to approach any sort of misconduct seriously, but it's a succinct minority, okay? So let's throw that out there. As far as this question goes, which I do understand, so that's a good start. I think there's an answer to this question, a right answer, and I think Mr. Connor gave it. I think that especially Norfolk County will need to to have outside entities prosecute, because there's conflict of interest and there's an appearance of conflict of interest. Both are equally damaging the office, especially one where we're trying to restore public trust here. You need to have an outside entity prosecute the police officers that you work with regularly. It's not only the public perception, but also internal issues and strife that it causes, just like I think the between the BPD and the Suffolk County DA's office right now. I think they're experiencing that as well. So that's my response. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You have a rebuttal? Go right ahead. 30 seconds.
So I think that it is possible for a prosecutor's office to investigate local police officers. We do it in the U.S. Attorney's Office. I investigated and prosecuted a bribery case in Stoughton where state police troopers were accepting bribes in exchange for commercial driver's licenses. And if any of the agents who I was working with to investigate that case had knowledge of or were friends with the troopers we were investigating, we had a crystal clear policy with respect to conflicts of interest. We had a qualified senior prosecutor who dedicates part of her time to evaluating conflicts. We
Finish your
can do
thoughts,
that
sir.
here.
Thank you. Craig, you have 30 seconds to respond if you'd like.
Yeah, no, I think anything's possible. I don't think it's best practice is what I'm saying. And I agree with Mr. Connor, because we both served in county prosecutors' offices in the state courts and prosecuted police officers, and that's where I'm getting the experience from my response. And so it's just what I believe, and I understand that reasonable minds may differ, but I think that's the appropriate course of action.
Thanks, sir. Our final question for this section is that Massachusetts has expanded diversion programs, drug courts, veterans courts, mental health courts under recent DAs. Would you expand, maintain, or scale back these programs in Norfolk County? What does the evidence tell you about their effectiveness? Starting with Craig. Trying to accentuate it as much as I can.
It's fine. So I am a huge believer in recovery is a major part of my platform. I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but as someone that practices in our community courts, I would estimate, so substance abuse and mental health usually intertwined. They're easily the leading causes of crime in Norfolk County. I'd estimate that they're probably responsible for about 85% of our docket. Recovery courts are an enormous asset. However, I think they're inherently flawed in some ways, and I would absolutely expand on them. I think that the intentions are exactly what we need, but there are some problems in that the defendant needs to voluntarily enter into the program and also wrap up all other outstanding cases. What happens is the person remains in custody for some time and realizes they can plead out to the time served, and then their incentive to participate in recovery court sort of goes away. We need to address that issue so that we can increase the volume of participants in drug court and therefore, or thereby, increase the efficacy.
Thank you. Adam, the floor is yours.
I agree with Craig. I think specialty courts should be utilized, and I see a great opportunity in Norfolk County, because in Norfolk County we don't actually have some of the public safety problems that counties that have cities like Boston or Lawrence or Lynn have. And it's an opportunity to be at the cutting edge of criminal justice in the United States. And so utilizing the mental health and drug courts, expanding those courts, especially for first-time offenders in nonviolent cases without victims who've been directly harmed by the conduct. It turns out, and I think a lot of people in this audience know that, but utilizing alternatives to incarceration actually reduces recidivism and increases public safety. And so as district attorney, I absolutely will utilize and actually strengthen our use of these specialty courts.
Thank you, Adam. Juna, the floor is yours.
Yes, we all know now that there are many problems that lead to people committing crime. There's also many people who have these problems who don't commit crime. So we need to balance both diversion programs and also the harm caused by crime to victims who also suffer serious consequences of crime, such as mental health issues and drug addiction and job loss and even suicide. So we do need to be careful about that balance, but in theory, yes, of course, I agree with trying to address the causes the things that cause crime, so that people can stop committing crime and become productive members of society. I'd also like to see greater resources for victims of crime. Right now, the only thing they are entitled to is a $25,000, I believe that's what it is still, limit on victim compensation. And that is really sad, since that's the only way they can get compensation without civil litigation.
Thank you, Jim. Macy, the floor is yours.
I am in full support of maintaining specialty courts and in fact expanding them and making sure they continue to evolve to support new issues with regards to addiction and other types of diversionary programs. I'm also in favor of creating an emerging adult court of hope. Those courts handle cases with people, involving people from 21 to 25. I have a 23-year-old and a recently turned 27-year-old, and yes, sometimes I do question their decisions and whether they are fully mature yet, and I think the indication is not yet. And I sit with the Boston Community Justice Project, a steering committee with Boston Police, mental health, public health, and Suffolk County is on the verge of creating an emerging adult court of hope. And I hope to do the same in creating a steering committee in Norfolk County to study that and see whether that's something that's a good fit in Norfolk County, which I think it is.
Thank you, Macy. Jim, you are our next respondent.
Yes, I'm in support of expanding the specialty courts. I have the honor of currently sitting weekly for the staffing in the recovery court in Hingham District Court. And some of the things, I mean, it's not every story is a success story, but the ones that are, these folks are amazing people who have been up against so much in their lives to turn it around and to show essentially their families and the world and the court that they're not the person who committed a crime of drug crime, when in reality, a lot of the times what happened is the Sackler family and the Purdue Pharmas made billions and billions of dollars off of getting Americans addicted to opioids and Oxycontin just to turn around, pull these things off the street, make a bunch of people very desperate, turn to other drugs like heroin and this isn't brain science. This isn't something we should be incarcerating folks for. This is something that we need to be giving folks recovery for.
Thank you. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I helped develop our drug court in Quincy, and I would like to see it expanded. Sorry, Kat. I think it might be. So I'd like to see expanded countywide. You have to partner with the trial court to make sure the resources are available. I helped create the first veterans court in New England, and before I left, I was laying the groundwork from that veterans court to try and create an emerging adults court. But I also think that the mental health court is a place where we could have greater success. I think it needs to be treated like a predispositional court and not a dispositional court. Because to make someone go and either admit guilt to get into that and they have a mental health issue might be a violation of their constitutional rights. And if we're trying to get them help, we should be contemplating what is the issue they have right now and deal with it as soon as possible, opposed to making them admit to a crime that they might not be criminally responsible for. So that's where I would expand the treatment courts. And I will say Norfolk County has all of them present in its county right now. But I always think there's room for growth.
Thank you, Greg. And finally, Bob, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I agree with most of my colleagues, all my colleagues here on about the specialty courts. As a clerk magistrate, it's my duty to set up the specialty courts to staff them and make sure they run properly. The problem I have is there's not enough money to do it, and we need a lot more money. I'm a big believer in diversion. A lot of that specialty courts, you can divert people so they don't end up with a criminal record that follows them for the rest of their lives. You know, in this country we say once you do your time, it's all over, it's forgiven. No, it stays with you for the rest of your life if you have a record or if you've been incarcerated. So I'm a big one in preventing that at all costs. We need more money. The judicial system is 1/3 of the government. We get 5% of the budget. It's not nearly enough to what has to be done.
Thank you, Bob. Just a reminder to candidates, if you could hold the microphone closer to your mouth, it'll project a lot better. Some of them are weaker than others. Our last round of questions tonight are going to focus on resources, priorities, and leadership. Our first question, which we'll start with Bob, is you will immediately be responsible for managing approximately 120 staff, an annual budget of around 20 million, and roughly 25,000 cases per year. Describe in 60 seconds what specific management experience qualifies you to run this organization, not to try cases, but to run the office.
Well, I think the key is to have a good staff, to have good people under you that know about the district attorney's office and can manage the people that are in that office. There's a lot of money in these budgets, but I don't think it's nearly enough for most DA's offices to get done what they want to get done. It's a big responsibility, but I do believe if you're open about things, you're transparent about things, and you make sure the public is aware of what you're doing and what you're spending, that you can accomplish it and satisfy the citizens of Norfolk County that you're doing a good job and you're not wasting money.
Thank you, Bob. Greg, the floor is yours.
So, I think I get one of the loud ones, Kevin. So, when it comes to my experience, besides being an assistant district attorney and working in an office that has, I have the experience of knowing what all the units can do, how much it takes to get a case done. I know the value of every case. I know the partners that we have and how we can utilize them. I also understand how we can utilize the drug forfeiture account with monies that was seized so that we can use that for training and equipment. So I have that internal experience of how a DA's office can operate and how to utilize the funds we have. Outside the office, I've been working with nonprofits for close to 20 years, building successful nonprofits and managing budgets in multi-million-dollar situations. And so I can take that experience and put that on top of what I've done internally with the office and try and marry them together to show true leadership. I'll also say that the state has considered...
Last thought, sir?
No, I'm fine.
Thank you so much. Jim, the floor is yours.
So I wouldn't go out to, parade myself as some sort of one-man army, by no means, but I would take pride in surrounding myself with a lot of the best people. I take pride in forming relationships with people who are certainly much more smarter and intelligent and eloquent than I am. Just a few things. I might not have the years to tout around and say this is my experience with managerial styles, but I've been a fellow for the Boston Bar Association. I've been in many mentorship roles, and I'm currently on the board at a multi-million-dollar retirement community in Braintree. So all these things kind of mixed together is what I would bring to the Norfolk DA's office.
Thank you, Jim. Our next respondent is Macy.
I currently manage one of the largest adjudicatory boards in the Commonwealth and one of the most public-facing boards of all. My board answers to close to 1 million Mass Health members. My board also handles close to 30,000 cases a year. I have a staff of 60. I have hired, I have promoted, I have fired, and I have disciplined employees in the last 4 years as director of the Board of Hearings. I also work closely with NAGE. 80% of my employees are either Unit 1 or Unit 6 employees of NAGE, so I'm familiar with collective bargaining agreements, labor relations, and as well as employment law. I have a lot of experience managing and leading and supervising, not only in the legal field, but also in my personal life as Secretary of the Warrant Committee for the Town of Milton, as a board member of Dove, and as well as Vice President of the Milton Garden Club, which I love. So,
Thank you,
that is
Missy.
managing that.
Juna, the floor is yours.
Well, I've made my living identifying problems in workplaces and making employers pay for them. I've consulted to dozens of major colleges, the college presidents, heads of school, both public and private, police chiefs, retirement boards, you name it. I've supervised dozens of staff as an assistant district attorney in Suffolk County, the busiest district attorney's office in the state, where I had oversight of dozens of staff and thousands of cases. The thing I'm most proud of is that during that time, not a single person that we had worked with in that unit died. And that was an incredible accomplishment. I also supervised the Dorchester District Court, the second largest trial court in the Commonwealth. I supervised dozens of staff there. I've hired, I've fired, I've done performance evaluations. I know what a good workplace looks like, and I know how to get it done.
Thank you, Juna. Adam, the floor is yours.
This is a great question because the next district attorney in Norfolk County is going to have to demonstrate thoughtful, firm, decisive leadership. And Kevin, you asked for specific examples. I started my career working at an international law firm where I became a senior lawyer and ultimately worked with and supervised teams of other lawyers, paralegals, legal support staff in huge pieces of litigation, international level litigation. And then at the U.S. Attorney's Office, I handled some of the most complex cases in multi-agency investigations involving legal staff at the U.S. Attorney's Office, involving federal agents at different federal agencies, involving local and state law enforcement. And I think at bottom, Bob hit the nail on the head, because another aspect of this, especially in a district attorney's office, is surrounding yourself with people who complement you and who share your values. And so that's part of what I'll bring to the table as the next leader of this district attorney's office.
Thank you, Adam. Craig, final answer is yours.
Thanks very much. I think you have a panel of mostly attorneys that have, senior lawyers that have been practicing law for decades. So you have people that are in managerial roles. I mean, specifically for me, I was a senior level assistant DA at Suffolk County prosecutor at the district attorney's office. I run my own law practice. Right, I've managed plenty of people. I've managed our operations budget, and on the school committee, I manage a budget of public funds that's actually larger than the Norfolk County DA's office budget. So, I mean, that's the managerial experience, which is what the question specifically requested, but you also need to pair that with leadership abilities, right? And I have a collaborative, sort of lead from in front, humble leadership approach, meaning, I'm not above, always striving to do better and hearing, criticism from people that I surround myself with who I think are capable. Employees themselves. So I think you really need to focus on leadership, because without the leadership element, the management
Please finish your thoughts.
can't succeed in an optimal fashion.
Thank you. Our next question, starting with Craig. Elder fraud has grown significantly in the region. The previous administration did not have a dedicated elder fraud unit. Would you create one, and how would you staff and fund it without taking resources from other priorities?
So the answer is unequivocally yes. Seniors are uniquely susceptible, uniquely vulnerable to exploitation. And we absolutely need to create a unit that focuses on that. How I would specifically fund it is something that is very difficult to answer before you're looking at the operations budget, specifically line by line of the district attorney's office. There are only two ways to fund something new. You either gain revenue or you cut costs. And the DA's office isn't a budget, it's not a business. So the only way to gain revenue really is to ask for a larger tax allocation, which I think we would do and probably is being done every year. And as far as cutting, there very well may be programs that we don't need or dormant or not a good allocation of resources. So I think you just need to look at the budget and figure out where you can trim some fat to provide services that are meaningful and important.
Thank you, Craig. Adam, the floor is yours.
So as part of my accountability agenda, which is full of what I think are concrete solutions to a lot of the problems the DA's office faces, one of those tenets of the agenda is an elder fraud prevention and enforcement team, which is about two things. One, investigating and prosecuting elder fraud and abuse to the full extent of the law, but number two, preventing it before it starts. How? By engaging with the community, going to the councils on aging throughout Norfolk County, engaging with our veterans and other community organizations that support our senior citizens. This issue is personal for me. My mom's not here, and I'm sorry if she watches the tape, but I'm sorry because I'm going to refer to her as a senior citizen now, but she was the victim of an elder fraud scheme, and I saw firsthand not just what happened and what her monetary loss was, but how she was affected emotionally by getting duped. And that's the kind of thing that we can do better at in Norfolk County. How do we pay for it? I'll take some of the $2 million we spent on the second Karen retrial and pay for the team.
Thank you, sir. Juno, the floor is yours.
Well, as a card-carrying member of the sandwich generation, I definitely feel this issue. But I also feel that most of us feel like we're under attack every day. It feels like we are constantly being asked for money, or people are trying to trick us, whether it's on our phones or in person. And I think it's made us all feel like we need to hunker down. In terms of elder fraud, I think it's that is one of the priorities for Perkins administration is prioritizing elder fraud for exactly this reason. I'd also like to see, so yes, I would also advocate for greater funding for more rigorous trainings for seniors, because one thing I realized was that if you're working and you're affiliated with a large employer, or if you're a student at a school, you have good training regularly. And seniors, if they're retired, they don't have that. So I would like to see increased training for seniors. I'd like to dedicate a civilian investigator to help investigate elder fraud. I'd like to have a portal to report scams on the DA's office website and to publish information.
Macy, the floor is yours.
Unfortunately, I do see a lot of elder fraud and abuse, especially with the community that Mass Health serves. I see it from family members, nursing facilities, personal care attendants. I see it daily whenever I read one of the decisions that's issued to my office. And yes, I will create an elder fraud and abuse unit. I'm familiar with such a unit because one existed at the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. And the way I would fund it is to reevaluate the office as soon as I take office, and see if I can reallocate some funds from other resources or places that don't need those resources, and certainly by advocating before the legislature for more funding before the fiscal year is up. So that would be my plan to counteract elder fraud and abuse.
Thank you, Macy. Jim, the floor is yours.
Yes, I would create an elder fraud unit. Prior to funding it, I think I would have a discussion with the staff and see who, if anyone, is very passionate about it. Because I know at my office, there's folks who take, almost exclusively sex abuse cases, other folks who almost take exclusively gun cases. So first, before funding it, I would look to see, who's interested, who's the best fit for the job. Secondly, I wouldn't categorize seniors into two, I would categorize them into a few categories, because I know a few seniors who would certainly run circles around me. But to say how mandated reporters in Massachusetts not only are mandated reported to report child abuse, also mandated to report elder abuse. So reaching out to community resources like Old Colony Elder Services out of Brockton, Elder Affairs in all the communities throughout the Commonwealth and in Norfolk County specifically, and seeing how we can help.
Thank you, Jim. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So with elder fraud, it has been traditionally part of the financial crimes unit. And what happens is that it is referred to the crimes unit by local police or by South Shore Elder Services or HESCO or other partners that work with seniors. They report the crimes, and then we have troopers that work on them. And so the place is already there. We have the tools to do this. What we would probably need to do is maybe add one more financial person to this team, which is a forensic auditor. We used to have two. They've both retired, and I think that that's where we need to complement that unit, but I think that that would be a great help. But right now, the umbrella of financial crimes covers elder fraud.
Thank you, Greg. Bob, final response.
being in the elder category myself, I want to thank all the candidates here for looking out for me. And I agree with just about all of them. No question an elder unit would be in my administration. I'll get the money from the legislature. If I don't get it, I'll get it from someone else. I'll get it from private sources, but we got to have that, and I appreciate all my colleagues looking out.
Thank you, sir. Our next question, starting with Bob. Several of you have discussed anti-corruption as a priority, but a DA investigating public corruption is often investigating local officials, police departments, and sometimes political allies. Walk us through a specific scenario in which you would pursue a public corruption case against someone in your own political orbit and how you would ensure the process was fair.
Well, I would be fair in every case that's going to be prosecuted if I'm the DA. Up front, always fair. Prosecute fair. How do you handle the case? You handle it any other way. You don't make any exception for anybody, whether they're public figures, whether there's somebody you serve with in the legislature. You treat everybody equally. When you stop doing that, people lose trust in the DA's office. You've got to have one criteria. Everybody gets treated the same way if they commit a crime. End of discussion.
Thank you, Bob. Greg, the floor is yours.
So if someone was in my political orbit, I'd be concerned that there is a conflict of interest, and I would be first contacting the Ethics Commission to see if there is one. Second, I would want to go to, if there is one, or if I was uncomfortable with it, I'd be contacting another DA's office to do the investigation. If there wasn't a conflict of interest, you have to silo that investigation so that the rest of the office doesn't have access to it. So you have a dedicated prosecutor and a dedicated investigator who don't have a personal relationship with them. But I think what the most important thing is if you have somebody that could be perceived as getting a different set of rules, then you have to bring in outside people to give credibility to the investigation and make sure that the public has faith in it.
Thank you, Greg. Jim, the floor is yours.
Well, I find the term political orbit to be a little relative. However, you know, and I think it's a whole office issue and a whole district attorney's office issue. In the office I practice in, if there's whether that's a professional conflict or much less likely a personal conflict, we just can't touch the case, and I would implement that.
I'm going to stop right there for 1 second. I'll rewind it so we can watch all of Jim. But Connor was basically talking about when they have to step aside, the DA's office. I still think for Aiden's case, one of the biggest issues I had is that Brian Tully and the Mass State Police were still investigating him after he criticized them, after he covered them. And there's a special prosecutor for Aiden Carney, but it's the same DA's office, if you think about it, really. Cosgrove's is basically, they say he's independent, but Cosgrove's using the same state police that were involved in Karen Reed that Turtle Boy had been reporting on. So I feel like that was, I feel like that's maybe his best defense, honestly. But I'm not a lawyer, and that's probably not going to help much, but I still think there's a optics issue. I think there's a credibility issue. They should have had different state police involved from a different unit for Turtle Boy. So I think when Greg Connor says that, it rings hollow to me because he doesn't mention that. Doesn't mention it. All right. I'm going to get off the screen. I'm thinking too, what I might have to do after this show is I think I might have to do some editing tonight, and I might have to try to see if I can enlarge this on the screen. So maybe I'll just see if I can, edit up this live stream, enlarge the screen, remove myself, and put it out later tonight so that people can see it. See see the candidates a little closer because this is such a long shot. So I might do that tonight for you all. So there might be if people see a second video, it won't be a live stream, but it might be a video premiere. That's what it will be. It'll be the edited. If I can do this, if I could pull it off, maybe the trial channel will do it for us. But I'm gonna try. I think I can handle this. Fortunately, I can't do it on StreamYard right now.
Perceived as getting a different set of rules, then you have to bring in outside people to give credibility to the investigation and make sure that the public has faith in it.
Thank you, Greg. Jim, the floor is yours.
Well, I find that the term political orbit to be a little relative. However, and I think it's a whole office issue and a whole district attorney's office issue. In the office I practice in, if there's whether that's a professional conflict or much less likely a personal conflict, we just can't touch the case. And I would implement that along in the district attorney's office. However, with the caveat being that I also would think someone independent should be choosing whom the independent person coming in to prosecute the case should be. That being because you don't want your friends prosecuting your friends. I don't think that's going to work out well for anyone.
Thank you, Jim. Macy, the floor is yours.
I think all cases should be treated the same, but I think the most important thing is to determine whether there's a conflict in investigating this individual, which is one of the reasons why I have not taken endorsements from individual politicians or local select board members or any local elected officials, because as the district attorney for Norfolk County, those individuals might come into my orbit, and they are not in my orbit, and also financial contributions. All my financial contributions are from retired police officers or police officers that serve in Boston, so there is not a misconduct issue because it doesn't fall into Norfolk County. I only, with the exception of one retired commissioner of the Boston Police Department, I've accepted endorsements from organizations and not from individuals. And that in and of itself will avoid a conflict of interest in my office should that issue arise.
Thank you, Macy. Juna, the floor is yours.
Politics has no place in the DA's office, which is kind of funny because we're all running for the job. But it really doesn't. And when I was a young prosecutor, both Scott Harshbarger, the Attorney General, and Ralph Martin, the District Attorney, both of whom have endorsed me, said all the time, you do the job the way it should be done, and you leave the politics to me. That said, of course, if somebody came before the office with whom I had a relationship, or anybody in the office had a relationship with, that could reflect an appearance of impropriety, it would be conflicted out. I would ask another county to handle it, another office, or as Greg said, at the very least, if we decided it wasn't a conflict, a significant conflict, silo it within the office. But the most important thing is that even your friends screw up sometimes, and you have to be, as a district attorney, willing to make the tough decisions even when they're hard, and even when you might lose a friend.
Thank you, Juna. Adam, the floor is yours.
As the only person on this stage who has prosecuted public corruption cases, I know how to do this. I know how to implement successful systems and clear conflict of interest policies to ensure that we identify conflicts, we recuse ourselves when necessary, and part of that is ensuring, like at the U.S. Attorney's Office, you have a designated senior assistant district attorney whose job it is to answer ethics questions, to answer questions about conflicts of interest. I know what the pitfalls are of having to negotiate these things, and I know how to do it successfully. One of the tenets of the accountability agenda, which I keep coming back to, you should check it out, it's on my website, voteadamdeitch.com, is a concrete solution to exactly this problem. And I talk about how specifically to eliminate politics from the work of the DA's office. I'm running as a Democrat, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I don't think partisan politics should have anything to do with the work of the district attorney.
Please finish. Thank you, sir. Greg, final response.
Thank you. I think I already pretty much expressed my thoughts on this in connection with the police issue, and my position is the same. I mean, if there's the appearance of conflict or conflict, they're both equally damaging, and so you need to have some outside entity get involved if that's the case. But, you know, if there isn't, if there wouldn't be any argument that there's some sort of impropriety or conflict, you know, some state rep from Fitchburg that gets pulled over drunk driving and 95 and Sharon, then they're treated just like everyone else is. You just handle that case accordingly. But if there's something that could cause the public to doubt whether or not, you know, your actions are true, you need to have an outside entity do that to avoid that perception, especially in Norfolk County these days, that perception of impropriety.
Thank you, Greg. So we've established one thing tonight. I think it pretty concretely is that 60 seconds is not enough time to answer a lot of these questions. Duly noted. That's why, with our last 5 minutes before we get to closing statements, we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round. Now, as part of this lightning round, you'll have roughly 15 seconds, or if I say answer in one word, to respond to these questions. The intent is to be quick hit, move along, hopefully get a couple in before we get to our closing statements. Everybody on board with that? I'm not seeing everybody say yes. All right, so our first lightning round question. Craig, we're going to start with you. Give us one word that describes what Norfolk County needs most from its next DA.
Visibility.
Thank you, Craig. Adam.
Accountability.
Thank you, Adam. Juna. One more time.
Leadership.
Thank you. Macy.
Complete cultural overhaul.
Not one word, but thank you. Jim.
Humanity.
Greg.
Experience.
Bob.
Honesty.
One more time, Bob.
Honesty.
Thank you. All right, let's expand a little bit for one more. Please name one specific policy the outgoing DA had implemented that you would keep on day one. Bob, starting with you.
I'd keep the specialty courts, and I'd make sure that they were staffed with people from the office.
Thank you, sir. Greg.
So I would maintain the relationships with the community coalitions because they've helped reduce overdoses from over 50% from 2015 to today.
Thank you, Greg. Jim.
Continuing to prosecute violent offenders.
Macy.
Specialty courts.
Juna.
I would continue to use forfeiture funds to pour them back into the community to recovery programs.
Adam.
Diversion and treatment for first-time nonviolent offenders.
Craig.
Attentive and excellent prosecution of child offenses, child-based offenses.
Thank you. This is moving along pretty nicely. Nice job, everybody. We'll do one more. Should the DA's office publish an annual data report on charges filed, plea deals taken, and case outcomes broken down by race and zip code? Yes or no, and then one sentence. Starting with Craig. Sure. Should the DA's office publish an annual data report on charges filed, plea deals taken, and case outcomes broken down by race and zip code?
Yes.
Adam?
It should publish that, except on a much more regular basis than annual and with much more data.
Juna?
Yes, and it should contemporaneously publish them on the website.
Macy?
Yes, I do that now on a daily basis at the board of hearings for Mass Health.
The beginning of that was yes. Thank you. Jim?
Yes, but raw data only to protect everyone's privacy.
Greg?
Yes, and I'd like to partner with CPCS and the trial court to accomplish it.
And Bob?
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. That concludes our lightning round, and now we'll be moving into our closing statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes. Bob, please kick us off.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having us. It's been a pleasure. In closing, I'd like to say that what we've witnessed in the last couple of years with regard to the district attorney's office, the destruction of the district attorney's office, I say, as far as its credibility is concerned. This was all self-inflicted by assistant district attorneys. It didn't have to happen. I suggest to you, ladies, you need an alternative. You need somebody that can manage that office, somebody that can keep a tight leash on assistant district attorneys. I offer you me, the alternative candidate. I've never been a assistant DA. I was never in the DA's office. If you want a DA, you got plenty to pick from. Don't pick me. If you want somebody that's going to make a difference from the top down, to instill in that office the fairness and credibility that it deserves, and bring that office back up to where it should be, I suggest a vote for me. You give me 4 years, just 4 years, and I'll make that damn office the best district attorney's office in the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you. It has been my greatest honor to serve the people that I grew up in this county, and I want to continue to do that, and I want to bring back the integrity to this office, because when I joined it, I saw how great it could be. I recognize that its credibility was damaged with those 2 cases, with Sandra Birchmore and Karen Reed. I recognize that. What we need to do is expand the notion of a conflict of interest. We need to have objective people investigating and prosecuting those cases, and that will be priority 1. But as far as my experience, it's second to none. No one else can say that they've tried murder cases in Norfolk County as a prosecutor. No one else has led the different units. No one else has created the courts that I have created. No one else has given defendants a new lease on life like I have in Norfolk County. And so that is what I want to continue to do and instill in the rest of the office. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Greg. Please hold your applause. We're almost there. You were all doing so good. Jim, the floor is yours.
Okay, I didn't take the opportunity to rebut anyone today, but I'll rebut Bob. I've never been a prosecutor either, so I just wanted to jump on the back there. I fight every day for folks' constitutional rights in the district and superior courts in Massachusetts. When police overreach, when there's unwarranted stops and unwarranted searches and seizures, I'm in there making sure that justice is served right, and that folks get the due process that they're entitled to under the Constitution of the United States and the Mass Declaration of Rights. Now, I've talked a lot, or at least any opportunity I can get, about decarceration, and I've talked about how that goes to lowering crime rates overall. These aren't crazy ideas. They're backed by studies, and you know, I have 2 girls, 5 and 8 years old. I don't want them growing up in a community that it's overrun by crime and that it's unsafe to go walk out on the street. I want them to grow up in a humane place. I want them to grow up in a place where they're proud to call home. And now from running for the DA's office, we can do a lot. We can do a lot to improve our community. We can do a lot to lower the crime rate. We can do a lot to make Norfolk County a more humane place. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Macy, the floor is yours.
On September 1st, when you hold that black marker in your hand, and you have a ballot right in front of you, and there are going to be 7 circles to pick from, I ask that you ask yourself, who on this ballot is a proven change agent? Who on this ballot has a proven record of making real, everlasting changes? Who on this ballot has proven management, leadership, and prosecutorial experience? I ask that you carefully consider those questions, because the next Norfolk County District Attorney will hold a very important role of not just managing and leading this office, but also changing the culture of law enforcement. Changing a culture that's misogynistic, that can be racist, anti-Semitic, and hateful. That is what we saw 2 weeks ago by the communications of two trusted law enforcement officers that is responsible for public safety. And there's probably many more and many other individuals that engage in that conduct. Who is that candidate that can quash that type of behavior? I think in order for that to happen, for real change to occur, it needs to be someone from the outside, someone who's never been a Norfolk County ADA, but also someone from the inside who has practiced years in state courts, that knows the rules of criminal procedure and has argued cases, tried cases in the courts in which he or she will supervise the ADAs appearing before these judges.
Thank you so
I
much.
ask you to consider that on September 1st. Thank you.
Juna, the floor is yours.
So the real question when you're in the ballot box, as Macy points out, is which of us do you think is best positioned to represent your interests every day? Who will you trust to protect your interests when ICE comes knocking or when Donald Trump is threatening us? Who will you trust on the worst, who do you want in your corner on the worst day of your life? This is my community. I raised my children here, I built my business here, and I was that kid that I talked about in the opening. And I will not have what we have seen happen in this office ever happen again. I am proud to be the first one who entered this race, proud to have been the first one to call on Michael Morrissey to resign a year ago, proud to have been the first, and I was the first one in the race. I was criticizing him before I was even in the race. I'm the first one to have pledged to prosecute ICE agents for excessive use of force and unlawful detention. And I'm proud that in the past 2 years of campaigning, I've earned the support of dozens of local leaders around this county, as well as legal professionals and victim services advocates. My donors are local, my supporters are local, and this is my community. I need your help, and I want your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Juna. Adam, the floor is yours.
It's scary to think about having a loved one who's found dead.
Stop it right there. And I'll come back to Adam. I thought that was very powerful. I thought very strong closing argument from Juna Perkins. Let's see. I'm going to show Charlie because I just took him for a walk. Come here. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to bring Charlie out. Come here. He needs a haircut. He's getting a haircut. End of the month. He's going in. You go have fun. He's having fun. He's going crazy right now. All right, I'm going to get off the screen now. Yes, it was very good. Oh, you like Charlie? Yes. I want to thank everybody who's been watching this and super chatting. I know there's a lot of drama content to compete with, and you guys chose the good stuff today. This is fun. I love this. This keeps me away from the drama content too. Yes, and Charlie does too, of course. All right, let me get off the screen. Let's watch Adam Deitch. I'm gonna rewind it for a second here. All right, we're gonna watch a little more of Juna, and I'll get off the screen here. I don't want to take anything away from Adam.
My donors are local, my supporters are local, and this is my community. I need your help, and I want your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Juna. Adam, the floor is yours.
It's scary to think about having a loved one who's found dead or who's the victim of a violent crime and not getting answers. It's scary to think about a DA's office that isn't open and transparent and where you can't get an explanation for what the DA's office is doing and why. It's scary to think about a DA's office that spends millions of taxpayer dollars doing a job we all assumed that the DA's office should be doing in the first place. But the scariest thing is this: that's the district attorney's office we've had for the past few years. Folks, I'm not scared. I'm not scared because of the thousands of conversations I've had in the last 6 months with Norfolk County voters who are ready for change. And I'm not scared because I have real solutions to these problems, where people will get answers from the office and have an office that they can trust. Because we'll build an office where, if God forbid you need the DA's office, and I agree that will be on one of the worst days of your life, you'll be dealing with folks who are competent and professional and trustworthy. And where most of all, the goal will be justice, not just winning. Look, if you want to continue Michael Morrissey's leadership style, you have a candidate in this race, and you should vote for him. But I think this should be an election, not an inheritance. If you're ready for change, let me say this: I am the opposite of Michael Morrissey. I am the opposite of the Michael Morrissey machine. So if you're ready for change, if you're ready for a district attorney's office that you can be proud of, please vote for me on September 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. No clapping, we're so close. Craig, the final closing statement is yours. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To me, the most important issue here is what brand of leadership each candidate is going to bring. That is the primary issue in turning this office around. How will they serve you as DA? And the best indicator of how I will serve you is how I have served the public. In 2019, the Cohasset Public Schools were embroiled in a scandal, a controversy, where a middle school teacher was then alleged to have been abusing middle school students. The community became distrustful of the district's response to that, and people started to lose confidence and trust in the school district. So I ran for school committee. And what we did is we realized we needed to shift the approach to a collaborative one that engaged the community and involved them in impactful policy shifts. And from that point on, we never implemented any policy shifts without providing full and ample opportunity for the public to be heard and exchange ideas and perspectives. What happened is we saw an increased interest in what the district was doing, and then enthusiasm built, and then familiarity and relationships, and from that blossomed trust. And then, 7 years later, in 2026, we have a top 25 public school district and a blue ribbon high school, nationally recognized. From the subject of controversy came something that was the center of community pride. We can do that, and we're still evolving, we're still improving. We should always strive to improve public institutions, but we can do that with the DA's office. We can raise this in the depths of controversy. We can build something extraordinary by adopting a community-centric, service-oriented approach that focuses on you, focuses on what the office has ignored too much. We can build something extraordinary, but we have to do it together. That's what I intend to do as DA, just as I've done in my own community. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. And with that, we conclude tonight's debate. Please, let's hear it for our candidates. I'd like to thank all 7 candidates for participating and for their willingness to put themselves before the voters and answer some tough questions about the future of Norfolk County. I'd also like to thank the Democratic Town Committees, our hosts, the volunteers, and everyone who helped to make tonight possible. And most importantly, I'd like to thank you, the audience. Thank you for showing up and being here. You know, one of the things I've always appreciated about local government is that democracy happens in rooms just like this. It happens when people take the time to listen, to learn, and to participate. It wasn't about choosing a winner. That'll be your responsibility as voters. I encourage everyone to continue learning about the candidates, discussing the issues, and most importantly, voting on September 1st in a Democratic primary. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a safe trip home, and good night.
Yes. Thank you to them for recording it. I thought Adam gave a good closing, as well as Craig McClellan. He's strong too. Oh, 4 more to the goal. We didn't hit the goal tonight. We came close. I want to thank everybody though, because we got 6 super chats within the goal, but we also got some memberships, some gifted memberships tonight, which they don't count on the goal, but they should actually. I don't know why they don't, but. And we also got some of those jewels that don't count on the goal too. So I think we did get more than 10 donations. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you everybody who gifted tonight. And thank you everybody who's been here. Oh, there we go. Michelle is helping us. 20 just came in. We're that much closer. We're at what, 7 out of 10? She just sent $20 and said, thank you, Mike. Good show. A few solid closings. I agree. And, so, you know, people have been saying certain people should drop out to help, like, you know, Adam Deitch win. I just think that's not going to happen. That's like wishing that it doesn't snow in Boston ever again. It's just not going to happen. You know, there's going to be a winter and there's going to be snow in Boston eventually during that winter, in every winter. With this many candidates, even if one dropped out, it's not going to make a difference. And if you really look at this race, nobody's going to drop out. Like, especially if you are in the top 3 or 4. Like, if you're Juna Perkins, if you're Adam Deitch, or if you're Greg Connor, I don't think there's any chance you're dropping out. Because any of them have a chance at winning. And so if you really want to have a say on this, if you really care about the election, support the candidate or the candidates that you think are the best. That's it. It's really up to you. It's what you're willing to do in terms of donating and getting, you know, more importantly, getting people in the district to be aware of the race and who's a candidate and why people should vote for your candidate. I mean, that is the name of the game right now. So if you want to win, help win. Like, that's it. Like, asking people to drop out is just, it's not going to happen. It's not going to nobody's dropping out. Especially if you're Juna Perkins with all those endorsements, which matter. They do matter. Those are people and families in the district who are voting for her. People who have won elections in the past, who have people who listen to them. So that's why Juna Perkins is definitely not dropping out. And neither is Adam Deitch with his resume and his online support. He's not dropping out. And he moved to the district. And Connor obviously isn't dropping out either. So the race is the race. Like, if you want to make a difference in it, support the candidates you want to win. It's as simple as that, whether you live there or not. Yeah, like this. If you get a sign. Make sure, you know, if you live in the district, especially, you know a lot of people. Like Marie lives there. Marie, you must know like more. I know a lot of people in the district because I've been covering Canton. But you must know even more. I mean, if you live there. And you should just let everyone know. Make sure that they're aware of the race, who's running, who you like. That's it. That's how you do it. Yeah, and you can donate. Anybody can donate from anywhere. But it's more helpful if you're within the district. It kind of counts more. It does. There you go. Talk to your people. Make sure they're going to vote. That's the other thing. On voting day, this is what I do a lot of times on voting day. I start texting my friends, did you vote, or family members, did you vote today? Don't forget to vote. That's a big one. Just getting people to vote. If people don't vote, Connor's going to win. That's really the struggle. If all of these campaigns get their people out to vote, Connor's not going to win. But it's a hard time to vote. It's September 1st. That's the whole problem. A lot of people are still on summer vacation September 1st. So that really you need to get people to do the absentee ballots if they're going to be on vacation too. So this is really what it's about now, people. Yeah, offer to drive people to the polls, or just texting people too. Like a simple text the night before. Hey, are you going to vote tomorrow? Do you have a plan? Do you know who you're voting for? Do you need any help deciding? You know what bothered me about this too? It's nobody's asked the question on these debates. During that interview, it was asked on the Stoughton Public. Noah asked the question about the campaign donations. But in these debates, they haven't asked the question, as far as I saw, unless I missed it. I didn't hear about the campaign donations. I think it was brought up by some of the candidates. I did hear that. But I didn't hear that that was a question. It should be a question in these debates. Will you take campaign donations from people who are prosecutors in the office, who are state police, who work in the office, people that you are the boss of? Are you going to take donations from them? That should be a question. Hopefully it is in the next forum. That's what it is. I mean, Rose, that is the name of the game. It's important to get out the vote. Check to make sure you're registered, volunteer to drive people to the polls, phone bank, and that's another thing too. Like if you're a Republican, if you're an enrolled Republican in Norfolk County, you can't vote in this primary. So get unenrolled if you want to vote. You can be an unenrolled voter and vote in either primary. That's what I am. I'm unenrolled, so I can always vote. I can pull either one. I decide that day. But that's the name of the game. The get out the vote is the most important thing. I like what I say on YouTube and what other people say on Twitter. That doesn't make a difference unless you're talking to people who vote. Like I may talk to, there are some people from Canton who obviously do watch my show, but they're the type of people who have already made up their mind. Like they're the ones who know more about this race or know as much about this race as me, so it's not like we're converting people. I think the biggest thing is this is why I'm covering it. I want to make people aware there's an election, there's a choice, and people need to get out to vote. That's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to educate people and let them decide. Like I'm not telling you who to vote for, if you noticed. You can probably tell who I like, but I kind of have told you who not to vote for. That's the big one. I said, don't vote for Connor. That's the only one I'm really saying don't vote for. Yeah, that's the key. You got to make sure you're not. You can be what is called is unenrolled. You're not a party affiliated. If you're unenrolled, you can pull a Democratic primary or a Republican primary ballot. You can choose that day. Obviously, if you want to vote in this race, you're going to pull the Democratic primary ballot, or you can be an enrolled Democrat to vote in the primary for the Democrats. But if you're a Republican, if you're enrolled as a Republican, you wouldn't be able to vote in that rate in this election. So make sure you know what your party designation is. It is, but yeah, it's funny because this is the funny thing, Marie. I'll explain this quickly. In some states, unenrolled, that's what I am in Massachusetts, is considered independent. Like sometimes they call it independent, but in Massachusetts, there has at different times been in certain parties, third parties, smaller parties that are called independent parties. So don't say independent, but it is. It's kind of like independent, but you in Massachusetts it's just called unenrolled. I'll spell it out because I need a drink of water right now. Hold on. Unenrolled. That's that's the I put it in the chat so everyone knows. That's what you want. It's basically saying I'm not with any party. I'm not with the Independent Party. I'm not with the Socialist Workers. I'm not with the Green Rainbow Party. I'm not with the Libertarians. I'm not with the Democrats. I'm not with the Republicans. I have no party designation. In Massachusetts, it's called unenrolled. Other places, they call it different things. So this is if you want to be like that, like me, it's basically what I call it is like you're a free agent. You can vote in whatever primary you want. That's what it is. So that's what I am. Did I spell it wrong? I did spell it wrong though. Oh man, but you see what I'm talking about. I'm not enrolled with any party. That's what it is. Yeah, you can do phone banking too. And each campaign too. Each campaign has an email list. Get involved. Sign up for their email list. Find their website and volunteer. A lot of them do phone banking, standouts. There's different ways. A lot of times you can help and help out with the campaigns. It is. That's why most people in Massachusetts, the number one designation in Massachusetts is unenrolled. Number two is the Democratic Party, which is big, and way back third place is Republican Party. So most voters in Mass are like me, because sometimes you want to vote in the Republican primary, sometimes you want to vote in the Democratic primary. It depends on the campaign, right? And who's running where. Oh, we got another one. Look, 7 out of 10. Formerly original Jola sent $10 and said, "Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much." Look at that. We're at 8 out of 10. We kind of did make it too, because we had those coins and we had memberships. We kind of made the goal, even though we didn't. We're like 80%. 80%'s a B minus. That's all right. I'll take that. They're probably the girlfriends of people who want jobs. uh yeah, I like being a free agent in life too, right? That's why I'm feeling good lately. I'm a free agent. Oh, I know that's a thing. You wonder, Marie, how many more of these is he going to do? It can't be fun for him. He's getting hammered all sides. I mean, there was one point when Judah threw that Sandra Birchmore, he had no response. He was done. He was cooked. She had a friggin' a one name. She just had, that was her response, Sandra Birchmore. And then Deitch went at him. And he could have rebutted Deitch. And he was like, no mas. He didn't even want to. He was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to give Deitch more time to bash me after Judah just whacked me. He was like getting it from every single side of it. Like, he must hate this. Like, he was like, after Judah got him. Yeah, that was the best answer. After Judah got him, like, you replay that. Judah whacked him, and then Deitch went after him. And he could have gone back at him, but he was like, no, let's just move on. No mas. I'm not, if Juna just whacked me, I can't imagine what Deitch will do to me. And Deitch had rebutted him already earlier. Yeah, postcard campaigns can work too. I check with the campaign, see what they need. All right, I think I'm done, I think I'm out of here. I think I'm done. Is there anything good drama going on right now? Is there anything I'm missing? Like, what's going on? Is there any big spaces? Is there, like, what's going on? Like, every time I go on Twitter, it's like another YouTuber that's like crashing out, and I'm like, what? How does it include this one too? I don't even know. I can't keep up. Can someone give me like a rundown, like what's been going on with the drama on YouTube? Because I haven't been watching. Who's done what now? No mas. And Chronicle signed with two special guys. I hope it's not their attorneys. Some of the stuff I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like I don't know, man. It seems like he's poking people who want to sue him. Um, you see, I don't even want to hear this on the audio. It makes me feel dirty, honestly. Like the secret recordings and shit like that. Just I don't like it. I don't like it. I gotta say, people, I don't like it. Just me, you know. I think it's setting people up for charges too. Like I don't know. I hope people. I don't want to see more people going to court. I don't. It's just like crazy. But I'll just shut up. Everyone from all sides comes at me no matter what. So whatever. Yeah, I mean, and not just that. Even worse than getting sued, like charges. Like that seemed like those recordings. Did they know they were being recorded, audio recorded? Because if you don't know you're being audio recorded in Massachusetts, that's considered. You know what? If you traveled out of state to do it, like that could even be federal. Like that's just people got to. I don't know. That's what I've been trying to warn people. Smart. Like don't do too much. Like don't do too much. All right, I've said enough. Not my business. I just don't want people to get in trouble. DeJuna's dig at Connor for having employees fund his campaign is so funny. I know, right? Why wasn't like that's the thing? She brought it up. Why isn't that a question from a moderator? I gotta say, I thought this moderator did a great job. He was like, he was his tone, his voice, um, his questions were good. They were quick. Like I like the speed round. I used to do speed round on my show a lot. I love speed round. He was a good moderator, but I just wish that question was asked about the funding, the employees funding campaigns. You say about there's no conflict of interest, but what if there's somebody in your office, Greg Connor, who has done some shady shit as a prosecutor, but they've given you the max contribution every year? What do you do then, bro? What if they're your donor, but they're also somebody that you have to supervise? What about that conflict of interest, Greg Connor? Nobody asked him that. I wish they did. But Juna took the swipe. Juna went at him. Juna is aggressive. That's what I like. Someone said it's funny. One of the comments on the on a recent clip from this debate that we posted was I don't think I like what June is saying, but I don't think she's strong enough. And I'm saying she's not strong enough. She's taking swipes at Daesh. She takes swipes at Connor on the regular. She's just listened to her background, where she came up, what happened to her as a child, and what she overcame, and how look at what she's done with her life. Like that lady is like something about her. I've been around her in person in the studio and on these shows. There's like a quiet strength to her. Like some people who are really strong don't need to yell at you or raise their voice. She has that. And I didn't realize it, and I didn't even realize why until she told the story about what happened to her growing up and her family. She is incredibly strong. So people have to put that little notion away that she's not strong. He doesn't give two shits that some of you are telling her to drop out of the race. I mean, that's the thing. That's what I laughed. Like, she is very strong. This is the lady that goes into school systems and goes into different places, corporations, state government, town governments, and deals with sexual harassment, sexual assault, things like that, bringing truth to power, justice. She's not afraid. She is not afraid. Yeah, Jermaine knows. Mm. I think I'm about wrapped up here. I think I'm done tonight. Does anyone have any questions or comments before I go? Anything you want to know? Any trolls? No trolls. The trolls are staying away. I'm not controversial enough anymore. I don't even think they were here for the late JFK show. Like that was. I didn't even tell my moms I was doing that night. I don't even know. I didn't even look at the JFK. At one point told me there was a troll in the chat. Like that was it. There was like I think one troll even in that chat. Like I think they've given up. Have they given up? Maybe I just don't notice them anymore. This is the occasional, doofus who comes up and comments on how many live viewers we have. Like that's a dig. I'm just withdrawing some money out of my Cash App. Did someone give me money or is this a customer? Let me look. Oh, those are from customers. So no, none of you donated on the Cash App. But I did get my super chats tonight. 8 out of 10. You were told to F off in another chat today. There's a lot of that going around. A lot of people are fired up on all sides lately. Yeah, these forums are a good way for the people to get to know the candidates. That's why I want to air them. I want to thank the TV networks, the local TV networks for recording these. Yeah, it was fun to be on JFK the other night. Definitely was. Good time. Yes, that Sandra Birchmore answer was so good. I'm going to clip that. It's already clipped, actually. We already have a version of it. Um, Juna Perkins actually clipped that and put it up on her Facebook. It was very powerful. I mean, it's like, wow, he had nothing. He had nothing. And then Daesh went right after him, right after that, and he had nothing. No, he was like, no mas, I'm done. Tapping out. Call the match. He's looking at his watch that he doesn't have. He's like, is it time to go home yet? Yeah, that's my thing. This is my jam, right? It's what I like to do. Who cares? Exactly. Who cares? I think that's what it is. They know we don't care anymore. About the troll behavior. We just like, who cares? Yeah, that was the best response of the night. Juna Perkins. Who would have thought that Juna Perkins would be the one? Out of all those people on the stage, she's gotten good at this. She's gotten very strong. Oh, look at this nurse of interest kicking in again tonight. She's trying to get us to our goals. Now we're at 90%. That's actually an A. I mean, that's 90% is good. 9 out of 10. Like you can't, especially knowing we got some extra credit too because we had some coins and we had some memberships come in, and those don't show up. So, wow. As far as I'm concerned, we made the goal tonight. Nurse of interest. Thank you so much. I love especially considering we didn't have a million people watching tonight. It's nice weather. It's a summer, early show, last minute. Oh, there we go. Rose had a kick in again. I love you. We got 10 out of 10. We got an A plus tonight. You got an A plus. Thank you to our jerks tonight. Jerks in the chat. Let's hear it for the jerks. Give all the jerks in the chat a 1 tonight. Yeah, we did it. How great is that? Yes, yeah, I did. I did. I think I platformed her first, actually, Juna Perkins, before anyone else had her, and she was the first candidate in the race. And I'm definitely going to try to have her back on the show again very soon. I kind of want to ask her about the that Aiden Carney question, actually. Even though I don't like the guy, I can ask a question that he might like actually. And the question is, if it's a hung jury, if Aiden Carney gets a hung jury, are you gonna put people through it again? Because after the Karen Reed first trial, the hung jury, Juna didn't think that they should retry it. And she even talked about that today. When we're watching this forum, she said, "I knew he didn't talk to the victims of this or the witnesses of this, whatever she said, um, because he immediately decided to retry it. I knew there wasn't like a thoughtful review and analysis of it." Yeah. See, even people like me, I mean, all of us, I mean, really, are you gonna like if he's found a hung jury, if you get a hung jury on 10 charges against Aiden Carney, or let's say he gets a hung jury on like 3 or 4 charges and he gets not guilty on 6 of the charges. You really gonna retry him on the few charges? Like that would be stupid. And that's where I think a DA would have a say in his case. Like, I don't think any DA is going to dismiss the charges, especially if it's already on trial, or the trial's already happened, or the trial's about to start. Like, I don't think he's getting out of it. I don't through the DAs. But a retrial, that's a valid question. Because to me, I think a retrying on something like that after a hung jury, it would be only for political reasons. I think Connor would be the only one who would stick to retrying it. Yeah, I agree with what JFK said too. Like if Aiden is found guilty of these charges, it doesn't help. It's not helping the narrative or the public opinion on Karen Reed. That's for sure. Let's be clear. So there is a part of self interest for some of us that we and even for us YouTubers and people that want to cover trials and stuff like that. It's not good. Not good. All right, I'm gonna go. I always feel like I'm the man in the middle lately. I'm like a sane person among craziness on all sides. I'm gonna go. I'll see you soon. It's funny. I see the number on here, 420 people watching. That's where I gotta go. I'm gonna hit my 420. I hit the dispensary. I got some good stuff tonight. I got some good food. I've been eating all day. I had a nice lunch of big chicken parmesan subs that were on special at Market Basket. Oh, so good. Market Basket has some good prepared foods, I gotta say. You like those subs? I like those subs. Pretty good. That's the thing, Nurse of Interest. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like be able to cover stuff like Aiden and Karen without like the emotion of it, without the baggage. I mean, I could still acknowledge I don't love the guy, but I could still cover it reasonably and not be swayed by either side because I think both sides get too carried away. I think both sides sometimes get a little too crazy. Sometimes the truth is more in the middle. Like we've been seeing that in the civil case. Both sides are like, "Oh, this judge is so horrible," or it's gone our way 100%. It's like, well, the judge is actually saying "f you" to both sides. Like that's the reality of it. Like the judge is just doing his job. But I'm gonna go. I'll see you soon. I'm gonna go eat and it's over 420 now. There's more listeners, more viewers. I I don't want to miss the moment. Time to go. 7:10 actually. There we go. 7:10 p.m. It's another magic 420 number. If you know, you know. It's time to go. And that's the thing. Karen Reed was found not guilty. So I'll see you soon. Have a good night, and we'll see you probably tomorrow. Yeah, I may edit this video that we just did, like I said, and enlarge the screen a little bit, so there may be a video version of it, maybe later tonight or tomorrow. But I'll definitely be around tomorrow. Could be streaming. I think we'll probably record the Karen Reed hearing. There's going to be a hearing tomorrow afternoon, so hopefully record that, put that out as a video. So you should see some content tomorrow from us. Make sure you like and subscribe. Keep up. Like I said, even if you don't like us, you should be subbing to us if you care about Karen Reed or anything going on locally in Massachusetts, especially because we air all the hearings. We're on top of Canton. We're on top of the courts. We're on top of the breaking news stories and a lot of true crime too. So don't miss out. I'll see you probably tomorrow, unless something happens tonight. Peace out, people. Have a great night.